morning, everyone. Good morning.
Boca Raton is located at 23016 Sandalfoot Plaza on the east side of 441, just a few doors down from Western
Day
Beach.
2 in the new studio.
561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Any lab tests now of Boca Raton. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show.
Welcome, everyone.
For attorney Barry Siegel. Barry did a great job for me and my family when we needed a revocable living trust. Listen to one of our listeners, Ray, talk about.
I'm not sure where I'm going to put the camera today.
I want to praise Barry Siegel. And one of the most important things about sponsors is integrity. You have to know that you're dealing with an honest person. I had to go up to Myrtle Beach with my sister because her husband died, and I was helping her out. She had a trust and everything. She had not revised this trust since 1997. And you know, Barry says,
hey guys, I'm right here.
I called Barry's office because I had a question. I let the secretary know.
What's today? Thursday.
I know the laws are different, and I'm just asking for information for my sister. Now, you know, most people just blow you off, right? You know, almost immediately, within a few minutes, Barry himself called me. I asked my questions and so on, and he answered. He's very patient. I'm quite well with him, and talked about a lot of things, you know.
I'm not sure where I'm going to keep the
integrity,
camera today.
The most important things with sponsors, and all of your sponsors, because I've dealt with a lot of them, they all have that you can trust them, and you know you're getting a
I think you're better off there.
Yeah.
There's more control of the camera that way.
Yeah.
The microphone's not in your face, and it'll be easier to flip to Steve.
Yeah. Steve's not coming in today, though. He's got an appointment somewhere.
FLA 3782. Tell him Steve sent you.
All right, here we go.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve
Need Trump
Kane
wall
Show.
art? Yeah, I might do that. I might do that.
Dial one trick.
All right, welcome, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. That's right, you are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Welcome, one and all. And, of course, this is day 2 in our new studio. And everything's going fine. Just got in a little early doing some things. I was just, before we went on the air, I was making a video tour of the new studio, the new building, the new complex and everything else. And next thing I knew, I got a 2-minute warning. Got to be on the air in 2 minutes. So I didn't quite finish with that. And I'm a little disoriented because I wasn't quite done or ready even to be on the air. Well, listen, there's a lot happening, a lot going on, no doubt about that. And we're going to talk about a great many things. We're going to talk about what's going on with General Flynn. Finally, you know, what's going on with General Flynn, there's nothing there that we haven't known for a long, long time. It's just now, you know, that they put him in a perjury trap. And if you remember, all the legal experts in conservative media, the real media, when everything first happened with General Flynn, we're talking about the perjury trap. So the perjury trap, it's not a news story, but it's for the first time the perjury trap is being reported in mainstream sources. See, you may know something because you go to Breitbart, or you go to Drudge, or you listen to me, or you listen to Levin or something, and you might have known for 2.5 years that it was a perjury trap. But until, you know, this is something that's very frustrating for me. I hear Savage gripe about this too sometimes. A lot of stories that we know are true, it's like they're not real until they're on television. They have to be on television for people to say, okay, that's a perjury trap, even though it was on the Gateway Pundit, Breitbart, and everywhere else when this first happened a couple of years ago. So we'll talk about General Flynn. We'll talk also Ben Shapiro. I'm not a fan of Ben Shapiro. I don't think he's a very likable guy, Ben Shapiro. Is he a millennial? How old is Ben Shapiro? Does anyone know how old Ben Shapiro is? I guess I could Google and read his Wikipedia. But he said something yesterday. I'm very curious to see if this gets him in any hot water, because what he said about who lives and who dies during this pandemic, coming from a Jew, is one of the most insensitive comments I've ever heard. And I'm not into criticizing people for insensitive comments, but what Ben Shapiro said is grotesque. And for someone to say what he said, who's also a Jew, makes it even that much worse. Someone told me he's 36 years old. Okay. So we're going to talk. I'll tell you what that's about in a bit if you haven't heard it, because I know a lot of you out there. Is there anyone out there who likes Ben Shapiro? And it's an interesting thing because there's a lot of conservatives out there, and conservatives are given a big pass by a lot of people. A lot of conservative people will overlook a lot of dysfunction from personalities that are conservative because they're out there talking about things that the mainstream media are trying to cover up. But Ben Shapiro, now again, maybe this is just me. I have not talked to a single listener who likes Ben Shapiro. They all hate him. So anyway, we'll talk about what he said yesterday and play it and talk about what it means as a Jew that he said this, and we'll take calls on that. And also what's going on here in Florida so far as the shutdown. Yesterday, I was really, I'm still pissed off. And we're going to have to talk about that quite a bit because Florida is reopening, kind of reopening. Florida has 67 counties. 67 counties. This is a very big state. I didn't realize we have a larger population than even the state of New York. I think, are we the number 2 most populous state, soon to be the most populated state, which means we get all those electoral votes. The entire state of Florida, yesterday, with Governor Ron DeSantis, moved into phase 1 of reopening, except Palm Beach County, Broward County, and Dade County. Now, I know it's officially called Miami-Dade County. Now, I still call it Dade County. But the entire state is in phase 1 reopening, except the 3 Democrat strongholds. I have been waiting for weeks for this announcement to move into phase 1. And I was waiting all day for Ron DeSantis' press conference, and when he came out and said that the entire state is moving into phase 1, except for the 3 Democrat strongholds, I was pretty pissed off. We're going to talk about that too. And, you know, those of you out there in the South Florida radio listening audience, you need to call your local officials, mainly your county government, because this is mostly made at the county level. And, you know, we have the most cases in South Florida, but if you look at the rate of those who have died, come on, it's a joke. And, you know, I was talking a couple days ago about Miami. Miami is run either by immigrants from third world countries or the children or grandchildren of them. And if you go to Miami, it's an international city. It's run mostly by Hispanic people. And I think that the exile community, whatever they call themselves now, in Miami, they like big government control because that's the culture that they come from in Latin America. But the 3 Democrat strongholds, according to Ron DeSantis said yesterday, our governor, that the county governments of Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach are going against the recommendations of the medical professionals. He said that several times in his press conference yesterday. So the question is, why are the Democrat counties here in South Florida not moving into phase 1? It's one of 2 possibilities, and I'd like to take your calls on this. This is Broward, Dade, Miami. Are the Democrats keeping these counties closed because they hate Trump and it's Trump derangement syndrome? Or are these Democrats just loving the power they have all over people? Someone in the chat said Cubans love Trump. It's not the way it used to be. The older generation, my age and older, of Cubans are Republican. But the younger Cubans, they're so far removed from the domino playing crowd down there. They're not exiled community anymore. They're just your typical snowflake millennials. So it's not the way it used to be. The Cuban vote is not what it used to be so far as Republican support. They've been millennialized, liberalized, Americanized, and it's not the way it used to be. And it's run by Democrats down there. So is this Democrat people in power that don't want to give up power because they have so much control over us? Or is it Trump derangement syndrome? We're in a new studio, but the number's the same. 1-888-GO-CANE-1, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. All right, let's take a call. Good morning. You're on the radio. Oh, there you go. All right, you're on the air. Hey, Mike.
I'm not surprised at all. You shouldn't be either. I mean, like we've been talking about this for several weeks. Anything outside of these three counties, there's no one living there. And these three counties are run by liberals. Everyone's a liberal. I get calls from Louis Frankel like all the time. I block her number and then she calls me.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You ever get calls from Louis Frankel?
Get calls from... Hey, by the way, Rich Allen in the other room, I need a little help here in the new studio. I lost power on something, so Rich, if you're over there listening, come over and help me. I'd appreciate it. Get it. What about Lois Frankel? I didn't catch what you said, Mike.
I get calls from her like weekly. I try to block them.
What do you mean you get calls from Lois? Lois Frankel's the congresswoman?
Yeah, she sends recorded messages. I was like, come on already. I'm a registered Republican.
Hey, Rich, can you give me a hand for a sec?
I'm no longer a Democrat.
Yeah. Well, Frankel's the one who's... Laura Loomer is running against Lois Frankel. I lost power on the monitor there. I moved it and the power came off.
I am surprised.
I can't see to play anything.
I didn't think he was going to act that fast on this.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, appreciate it. Thanks a lot. No, I was talking to Rich Allen here. I knocked the power out on something. Well, here's the thing. Appreciate it. Thank you. It's on. Everything's A-okay. Yesterday when did you see Ron DeSantis yesterday, Mike?
I unfortunately haven't called it yet. I was busy doing something else, but at the first half hour, he was ripping the media, including Fox News, for fear-mongering Florida, that we were going to be the next Italy.
Yeah.
That never happened.
Well, I was very impressed with Ron DeSantis yesterday. I could see him being president of the United States, no problem. But I don't think that Ron DeSantis is running for president. I think he's being groomed by President Trump to run for president. He's kind of like on The Apprentice is what's going on here. You know what I mean? But what he did yesterday, Ron DeSantis, was go through all the models and how they were wrong and how Florida is comparing to other communities around the country. But when he got to South Florida, when he said that every county is opening up in Florida except Broward, Dade, and Palm Beach, and I didn't hear any reference to the Keys. So they just said Broward, Dade, and Palm Beach. They didn't say anything about Monroe County.
I heard that the Keys are pretty much open, but
Yeah. So in any county in Florida, starting Monday, other than Broward, Dade, and Palm Beach, you can walk into a restaurant, sit down, and have a meal. You can walk into a mall. You can go to the food court at a mall, except here in South Florida. So what's going on here? Are the Democrats here in South Florida, is it Trump derangement syndrome and they're trying to tank the economy? Or do they love the power they have over people and don't want to give it up?
I think it's a little bit of both, because we got some real power here. You got Frankel, you got your woman, Watchman Schultz,
Yeah.
Jimenez in Miami. I mean...
Well, Governor DeSantis said that these three counties were going against all medical advice. DeSantis said several times yesterday that the county governments in South Florida were going against all the advice from the medical professionals. He said it several times. And it's the left that are always saying we need to listen to the medical experts. And he says they are not listening to them. So, I'm not one. I know a lot of people on the radio, like Joyce Kaufman likes to give out people's phone numbers and say, call these people, call these people. That's not my thing. I'm not going to give out numbers. Well, I'm not going to give out numbers. I'll leave that up to you. But people here in South Florida, I'm going to do it today. I didn't do it yesterday. I wanted to wait until this morning to see if there was any change overnight. But there hasn't been. You really need to contact your local government officials here in South Florida, Broward, Dade, Palm Beach County, your local city and county people, and tell them to move us into phase one like the rest of the state and open up South Florida. This is outrageous. It's outrageous.
I'm going to start tweeting them, because that hurts more than calling.
Oh yeah, it does. Tweet too. Tweet. Yeah, and again, guys, I'm not going to sit here and read a list of people's Twitters and phone numbers on the air. You guys, if you care enough to open up, you can go online and find the info yourself. I'm not going to do that, but I'm pretty pissed off.
Rubio, where's he at? He needs to be defending the governor.
I see him at home with his Apple AirPods all the time talking to people. That's all I'm seeing with little Marco. I'm pissed. And you know what? I'll tell you, I think Governor DeSantis was pissed. And this is the thing. So, and I live in Palm Beach County. I can't go out and sit down in a restaurant, but I can drive 30 minutes north of here, cross the county line, and go sit down in a restaurant. What the hell's all that about?
Yeah. I have another question. Does Steve a Costco member?
Steve K. No, I don't think so. If he is, I don't know about it. Why?
I don't know why, but I thought I'm a Costco member, so we go in like every other weekend. We wear a mask, but now they just put a statement out saying they're gonna make. I didn't know they didn't do it, but now they're actually making people. If you don't have a mask on, they won't let you in.
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
Well, I mentioned to Steve yesterday on the air. Yesterday morning, I went to Cumberland Farms to get coffee on my way to the studio yesterday, and I saw a police officer inside tell someone to put their mask on. Never seen that before. Now, I don't know if they were telling them to put their mask on as a police officer, or if they were telling them to put their mask on just like, hey, guy, can you do... you know what I mean? I don't want to say that the police are out there, but it was a police officer, and he told the guy to put his mask on.
I don't want to be there. It's early in the morning.
Yeah. I don't know. They say the cops seem to like it. It seems to be the place I went to seemed to be a hangout for the cops, which is the place I want to go for coffee. When there's 3-4 cops out there, that's the safest place in town for coffee in the morning.
I know exactly where you were. I know the area, so...
Yeah, but I got to tell you, when they said that the Democrats are keeping... And I must say, in Florida, Broward, Dade, and Palm Beach are the most important parts of the state. I know you got Disney World up there in Orange County and all that, but down here in South Florida, we're the heart of the state. We have the largest chunk of the population. And without us, there's really no Florida. And I find it...
A few weeks ago, Orlando and Disney World, they've got a lot of pull. And they're the ones that probably was, behind closed doors, they were probably telling Ron, listen, we're losing like 40, 50 million a day here. We need to get this going. I mean...
Yeah. Well, I don't want to sound selfish or anything, but I'm more concerned about my own community, and our own community is shut down because Democrat. See, this is a very interesting moment because. Well, listen, I got to take a break, Mike, and I'll talk about that after the break. Thanks for your call. If you'd like to call in, please do. Our number toll free from anywhere 1-888-GO-CANE-1 888-465-2631. Let's take our break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota.
See, it's nice. Like when I have a technical problem, I have somebody here to help me now. Like I moved the when I was talking to Mike, I moved the monitor to play the commercials on, and I pulled the power cord out, and the monitor went blank, so I couldn't see the monitor to play commercials or do anything or sound bites or anything. So I got somebody here that can help me do that, which is nice. Steve Kane Show.
Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly.
The Trump flag? Yeah, I'm gonna bring some things in.
And he will give you a great low price right over the phone at 954.
I'm gonna bring some things in. Make sure you guys subscribe, all right, and share on all your social media.
Online, friendlytire.net.
Hi, this is George Corey of the Soul Authority. In this time of social distancing and sheltering in place, many people have been forced to neglect their feet. We at the Soul Authority are making it possible for you to still take care of your feet while remaining in your home, as we will send a doctor to your house for all of your podiatric needs. The best part of all is that Medicare pays for this visit. So, if you're a Medicare recipient, give the Soul Authority a call today.
Well, thanks, Jack.
954-597-7060. That's 954-597-7060. Don't let social distancing stop you from taking care of your feet. Call the Soul Authority today.
Listen to the Steve King Show on iHeartRadio. Just search.
All right, welcome back, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show, on the radio since 1977. By the way, Friendly Tire in Margate, open on Saturdays, right? You hear how low the tire prices are, and, of course, they've got a selection of thousands of used tires starting at just $30 on most sizes. They have all the name brands you love, too, Goodyear, Michelin, all the name brands. If you have a commercial vehicle, a work truck, give Friendly Mike a call. He can help you with that as well, with deals that are just as low on commercial vehicles as they are on the everyday tires. Give Mike a call, 954-977-9445. He'll give you a quote right over the phone, 954-977-9445. And online, friendlytire.net. Friendly Tire is located at 5415 Northwest 15th Street in Margate, and 15th Street just north of Coconut Creek Parkway, east side of 441. Richie the bus driver, you're on the air. Go ahead, Richie.
Yeah, good morning. Before I get into what I wanted to tell you, I took a trip 139 miles east-west.
Oh, my goodness.
To Dr. Gupta's office. I got to tell you, once again, I mean, not only is his price is great, he's, by the way, he is selling shields and masks for $10. That money goes to the Kiwanis Club. So if you get this work, go over there to get a mask and a shield. We purchased two of them for $20, and it goes to a good cause.
That's great.
I'm standing there before I went in there, and then something you never say about Dr. Gupta, and I'm saying, well, I didn't know this. He's got all sorts of awards and plaques on the wall for cosmetic and reconstructive surgery. He's not just a regular dentist. I spoke to him, and he says, no, we do everything under this roof. It's all in-house. That's how you save the money in this place.
Yeah, because, you know, a lot of times the way a lot of dentists work today, you go to a dentist and they're just a general dentist, and then they send you this other dentist for that or another dentist for this. He does it all.
Surgeon, yeah, oral surgeon, all this other garbage. This man does everything. And like I told you before, anyone out there that needs a dentist, man, this guy, it's incredible that you have him as one of your sponsors.
I appreciate that, Richie.
He's a Republican, and he's a Republican, so if you're a Democrat, he'll still work on you, but he's been listening to Steve King since, I believe, he said 1986.
Mm-hmm, that's right.
Telling Jerry Wixner and everybody.
That's right.
I want to say something to you. Now, you know how what I said yesterday, and he said I'd come around. I spoke to a friend of mine who's living in Levittown, New York. If you were doing your talk show up there, you would be singing a different tune, because he's lost 10 friends. He's got 2 family members. One's on a ventilator right now. His in-law, she's on a ventilator, and
yeah, but we're not in Levittown, New York. We're in Florida.
Yeah, I understand, but that's the fear with the population where you are, and Broward County. I tell you the truth, Dr. Gupta took good care, made sure everything was sanitary, and he was all covered up. He looked like a space cadet with his assistant.
Yeah.
So I had no fear there. But Broward County is got a lot more than up where I am. You guys have a lot more there where you are. And the fear is that if everybody clumps together and starts going out together, and things could happen there.
I don't think that's it at all. There's nothing different about South Florida, Broward County, than you have, say, in Orange County, where Walt Disney World is. Yeah, you know, and they're open in phase 1. Phase 1's very different, and it's not a full opening thing. And the governor said several times during that press conference, the governments in Broward, Dade, and Palm Beach are going against the recommendation of the medical professionals. He said it several times.
He said the head guy in Miami is like a governor because he's got 3 million people down there.
Yeah.
And so, but I'll tell you the truth. I realized, well, my wife wanted to get a haircut and do her hair, and the haircuts are still closed.
Yeah, you can't get a haircut in Florida. The governor said he hasn't had one since February. But what county are you in again, Richie? I forgot. What's your county?
Indian River.
So in Indian River, starting Monday, you can go out to a restaurant, sit down, and have a meal.
Yeah, and still can't get a haircut, which which telling you that he doesn't want people to get on top of everybody.
Well, they're doing a slow thing, but I was pretty pissed off at South Florida you think it's just a coincidence that it's the Democrat strongholds that aren't reopening into phase one like the rest of the state?
No, not at all. And let me say this to you: if you bring up the stores that sell furniture, and yet you can go to Walmart and buy furniture. Well, Dr. Gupta worked on me yesterday, and I could tell you this much: he's essential, and he took tremendous precautions. A barber could do the same thing, and so could a hairdresser.
Yes.
The bottom line is they should let the people. That's one thing about DeSantis. I'm kind of shocked that he didn't open up barbershops and hairdressers. I mean, it should be opened up. There are people out there that.
Yeah, I think Governor DeSantis listens to the Steve Kane show. He was saying some of the things I was saying. He said he had not gotten a haircut since February, and he was talking about all the people on the news that when everything shut down that are getting haircuts and their hair dyed and there's no roots showing. He went into a big thing about that.
He actually cut them down. It sounded like your show that you.
Well, he very well could listen, the governor. This is the political show of record in the most populated area of the state.
Now, the people that I talked to, they're in Levittown, Long Island, okay, and he's got a handicapped son who has cerebral palsy. He's 25 in a wheelchair, and they're so worried about him because he's had so many operations, and they got, like I said, he said the neighbors has it, the one across the street had it. He said it's all over the place.
Yeah.
The war zone, and he sounded really down on it. I mean, he says, and they say they're not going to open that up till July.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but listen, this isn't New York. We're not in I know a lot of people think this is one of the boroughs of New York down here, but it's not.
I think the fear is that the people from New York, they could bring it all down here.
Well, that's why New Yorkers aren't really allowed to come down here right now, and if they are, they're met at the airport or at the state line and put in quarantine.
So they're told go home and go down there and go in quarantine. Then it's up to them. So it could be. You know what happens in the wintertime in Boca Raton? Boca Raton.
Yeah.
Is empty up until probably December.
We are going to get there when this is over. There is going to be a mass exodus from the city and the whole state of New York, especially the city. People are going to leave in mass because of the way they're being shut down up there.
And you don't think Governor DeSantis knows this? I mean, to me, it's going too slow.
I agree.
Open up, even where you are. I mean.
So here in Broward, Dade, and Palm Beach, the Democrat stronghold's not moving into phase one. The rest of Florida is. Do you think it's Trump derangement syndrome, or are they just Democrats who love having power over people?
I think it's Democrats who love having power.
Yep.
The obvious thing to me, I told you yesterday, and it's hard to take a disease and turn it into a politics, but they have done this, and they proved that with Biden, and they proved it with Hillary Clinton, saying that President Trump is a reality star playing a role as president. They don't accept him. They won't accept him.
Never will.
Everything to screw them. And they haven't stopped.
Well, see this what's going on with Democrats. You see it in New York. We see it here in South Florida. They don't want to give any power back. There are some times, like I'll give you an example. I think it's too easy for some people to buy guns in America. I agree with Democrats on that. I do, and I know that sounds like, oh, you're liberal. Come on, someone like Dylan Roof, the Parkland shooter, should not have been able to buy multiple guns. Should not have been able to have them after police. So. There are some restrictions on gun purchasing and ownership that I would agree with, but I would never support it because you can't trust Democrats. Once Democrats get one little thing, they want more and they never give it back. And this shutdown, I've got a clip of a mother I'm going to play in a little bit in Wisconsin. The police went to her house because she had a play date with her kid and the kid down the street. And the police came to her house because of a play date. And, Democrats love control over people. And you know what? A lot of Democrat voters don't seem to mind it.
Well, listen, you brought up the masks. And I told you Dr. Gupta's got the mask. Anyone needs masks, go to Dr. Gupta. But I tell you something, and shields. But the mask is supposed to protect not the person who's wearing it. the carrier of this disease, if they don't know they got it, at least when they're out in public, they're covered up so they can't give it to you. So that's why they need to wear masks.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Richie, I got to run for a break, but thanks for all the kind words about Dr. Gupta. A regular, Richie the bus driver drove 139 miles each way to see Dr. Gupta yesterday. That's how good he is, Dr. Gupta. That's right. All right, listen, this is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show, on the radio since 1977. My name is Brian Craig. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1. I want to hear from some people here in South Florida. What's going on with the Democrat? See, Broward County is, well, they're intimidated by Dade. Whatever Dade does, Broward does. And then Palm Beach follows suit with Broward. But it is not a coincidence, in my opinion, that the last state to come back with the vote count on election night 2016, Broward County, that these are the communities that are not moving into phase one here in Florida when the rest of the state is. I want to hear from some of our South Florida radio listeners about this. Are these Democrats doing this out of Trump derangement syndrome, or are they Democrats loving power and they don't want to give people freedom back? My name's Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show. We'll take our break and be right back. Don't go anywhere.
We have on the line attorney Barry Siegel, our estate planning attorney, and he's going to tell you what you can do to take care of your family in this very difficult period. Barry, what have you seen happening with estate planning since the outbreak of the coronavirus?
Since the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus, people have taken estate planning much more seriously. One of the things
that clock works.
Often is how people procrastinate when it comes to
that one doesn't. I put a new battery in that clock.
Estate planning, most of the time for people, is something they should do, but what the coronavirus has done
about the right time.
And concern is made people put this.
Make sure you guys subscribe, all right?
It's become a must, and therefore we have received a ton of calls from people who have been telling us that they've been meaning to do this.
What I haven't gotten used to in the studio is everything's reversed. What was on my left is now on my right, and what's on my left used to be on my right. So I'm a little disoriented. But it's really nice because I've got Rich Allen here. Like earlier, I moved the monitor and pulled the power cord out. The monitor went blank. So I couldn't see anything on the monitor to play commercials. So I just yelled down the hall to Rich. He came in, he plugged it in for me. In the old place, I'd have to have dead air and go figure it out. Not in South Florida.
And the whole point of it is you don't have to worry about your safety. You don't have to come in wearing gloves and a mask. All you have to do is we ask you that you fill out a questionnaire if you're married, that both you and your spouse attend, and we're able to do the same things and ask the same questions and have the same conversations that we do when you're sitting right there in our conference room, either over the phone or by video conference. It's been working out very, very well.
People are very concerned in this time about their health care. What planning is important for people to have as it relates to their health care?
Brian, the healthcare planning is so very important.
I'll show later when the sun, you can't see until the sun's out. I'll show you guys the window. The window's right here. That's the window. That's not a wall. It's like an interrogation room at a police station until the sun comes up. Right there is the window. Window.
We always recommend that you name at least two, you can name two people together, but the people you name can step in and make decisions for you health-wise, even life-ending decisions.
It is a great deal. You gotta wait till the sun comes out. Yeah, I just about finished the video for the tour.
If you are mentally incapacitated, you can't make your own healthcare decisions.
I gotta do an intro when I'm done.
Or you're in a persistent vegetative state, the living will tell your healthcare surrogate whether or not you want to be kept alive on a machine if the machine is the only thing keeping you alive while you're in those conditions. So it's very important to have.
But it's nice. This room is huge. Huge.
What it is that you would have wanted. The third healthcare document that is so important is called a HIPAA authorization and release. You've been to a doctor in the last, let's say 17
Oh, that's great, Nick. Yeah. Well, if you're visiting, let me know. You can come by the studio if you want when things are open.
The policy basically says that they won't share your private medical information with anybody other than other doctors, other specialists, other medical providers. The HIPAA authorization and release that you set up with your estate planning says I want my medical information kept private, but you can share it with my spouse, my child, my brother, my sister, my friend, whoever it is that you would want them to be allowed to access your medical information, either by talking to the doctors or the other medical staff, or even getting your medical records. So all three of those healthcare documents are so important for everyone to have, just in everyday life, let alone during these times.
Now, Barry, the Siegel Law Group, you are donating healthcare documents to people in high-risk professions. It's healthcare workers,
They
first
sure did.
responders, and even those who work at animal clinics and shelters.
Yeah, I can't say enough for the people.
A listener sent me an autographed Donald Trump picture. I just got yesterday. They sent it to me. I got it yesterday. Real nice. I'm putting it up in my studio at home. I don't want to put it on the wall here. Someone might steal it.
So we are offering healthcare workers, first responders, and those who deal with animals in animal clinics and animal shelters. We are offering them a free healthcare surrogate designation.
Yeah, there's 4 studios actually in this building.
And we'll take care of that for them. Again, for all of you who are doing this difficult work and that heavy load for all of us, we thank you very much. When you call the Siegel Law Group, we will give you a free
Yes, good morning.
consultation.
Elevator. We're on the 5th floor.
Video conference, that the consultation will be free. So please give us a call and we will set that up for you.
Call Barry Siegel's office right now and take advantage of that free consultation. His number is toll-free, 1-855-FLA-3782. 1-855-FLA-3782. Online, SiegelLawGroup.com.
Listen to the Steve King Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Indeed, it is. Okay, so, this loss of freedom that is going on has gotten way the hell out of control. I was talking about this police officer I saw yesterday tell someone at a gas station to put a mask on. Now, again, I don't know if he was doing that as a police officer or just as a guy telling someone to do it. But this loss of liberty that we are experiencing right now is the greatest loss of freedom Americans have ever experienced. And it's really frightening when I see law enforcement going to people's houses and doing what you're about to hear. This audio is frightening. Frightening. This is a mom in Wisconsin. She just got home with her kid. She was at a friend's house on a play date. She took her child to a friend's house for a play date. She got home and the police show up at her front door. And it's so hard for me to, I guess I'm in that stage of grief, of denial. It's hard to believe that this kind of craziness is happening in the United States of America. We're supposed to be a free country. Are we? Is it a free country? It doesn't seem all that free right now, does it? So this is the Wisconsin mom. She just returned home. She was on a play date with her child, and 2 police officers show up at her front door after she gets home from the play date.
Hi, Amy.
Hi.
I'm Deputy Everhart with the Sheriff's Department. So, are you aware that we're in a stay-at-home order right now?
Yeah, obviously.
By the government?
Yes, I am aware.
Okay, you're aware of that?
I'm aware.
I don't need to explain that to you?
No, you don't need to explain that to me.
I can if you need me to.
Go. You can because your officer was just here 2 weeks ago,
Okay, do you need me
and
to
he
explain
explained it to me that you guys weren't enforcing that order.
Oh, we're about to.
Okay.
You understand it though?
Okay, so why are you here?
Because your daughter is going to play at other people's home and you're allowing it to happen.
Wow, okay. So this is real. This is Wisconsin. I didn't know in Wisconsin, I didn't realize the accent sounds kind of like the Wasilla, Alaska accent. They sound like Sarah Palin in Wisconsin, don't they? 2 sheriff's deputies have come to this woman's house because she let her kid play with another child. What the hell is going on here? When is the last time something like that has happened in America? And I'll tell you, there was a time in America where it was illegal in Democrat communities, of course, to be involved in interracial relationships. It was illegal for black and white people to have sex, to get married, to date, to hold hands. These kinds of rules and regulations are as outrageous as those were. And I hope they'll be remembered. So let's go back. I mean, this is insane. This is Wisconsin.
I can if you need me to.
Go. You can because your officer was just here 2 weeks ago,
Okay, do you need me
and
to
he explained it to me that you guys weren't enforcing that order.
Oh, we're about to.
Okay.
You understand it though?
Okay, so why are you here?
Because your daughter is going to play at other people's home and you're allowing it to happen.
They were over here as well. So are you here?
And they've been talked to.
Okay.
So.
Wow. So the police already went to the home of the other people. This is their second stop on this. And you know, the police, as you hear this, and I'm very pro-police. I know we have a lot of police officers that listen to this program. I'm a strong supporter of the police. I don't know a police officer in my life that would do this. And you hear this attitude, there's no reluctance here. We're here because your child played with another child. And they seem so, they feel like they're so just in what they're doing, these cops. All right, let's go back. Here we go.
Because your daughter is going to play at other people's home and you're allowing it to happen.
They were over here as well. So are you here?
And they've been talked to.
Okay.
So.
No, I understand. Okay.
And so either you can acknowledge it or you can argue.
I'm acknowledging it.
Okay, stop having your kid go by other people's home.
Okay, I acknowledge it. Anything else?
No, that was it. Apparently.
Now again, these are two sheriff's deputies. Stop having your child go to other people's homes. It gets worse. They're not done. They're not done.
Apparently, there was some other.
I acknowledged it. I acknowledged it. Anything else?
Yeah, I need your last name. Amy, what's your last name?
I'm not. Is there a reason you're asking for it?
Okay, now. This is twisted, sick stuff. Okay? Yeah, there's a lot of things that are going on here. The police officers already visited the home of the other child. Now they're here. How did they know? How did they know that this mom had a play date with another kid? Someone called the police on them. One of this woman's neighbors called the police to say that she let her child play with another child. So a neighbor's ratting out a neighbor. You know, I don't want to compare this to the Holocaust, and please don't think that I am. But there's been endless discussion of how it happened. How was it allowed to happen? How was it allowed to happen? Very similar to this. Look at how the authorities, in this case law enforcement in Wisconsin, have gone so far and above anything that we could ever imagine in America, and going and knocking on people's doors with, stop letting your kid play with other children. What is your name? So they're not done yet. They want her full name, and they want it for a reason.
Okay.
So
no, I understand. Okay.
And so either you can acknowledge it or you can argue.
I'm acknowledging it.
Okay, stop having your kid go by other people's home.
Okay, I acknowledge it. Anything else?
Nope, that was it. Apparently, there was some other.
I acknowledged it. I acknowledged it.
Good.
Anything else?
Yeah, I need your last name. Amy, what's your last name?
I'm not. Is there a reason you're asking for
I'm
it?
adding you to the screen so we can document that we had contact with you.
Wow. So they want her name. Doesn't want to give her name. You are, I do believe, I would not refuse to give my name to any police officer. You're not in a court. This is not a place to make your case. If a police officer, even in the course of something as outrageous as this, asks for your name, give it to them. But she wants her name to put on a list. These Wisconsin deputies are running around making a list of people who violate social distancing guidelines.
With you.
Is there a reason for it?
Yep, because you're violating the state order, which is a.
If you let me finish, that's what I'm explaining to you. Because you're violating an order.
I haven't violated an order.
We're going to have documentation in our screen with your name because we're here talking to you about that you said you just acknowledged.
Okay.
So then there's documentation.
I would like to see the law that requires me to give you that information.
Thank you.
Because I haven't.
What is your middle initial?
Like they have in China.
I don't believe that I'm required to give that to you. Are we done here?
No, or not.
Okay.
Your middle initial and your last name.
I'm not giving it to you. I haven't done anything wrong.
Okay. Perfect. We got it.
Okay.
And that'll be documented too that you're uncooperative.
Okay.
Wow. Do you think those deputies are ready for Hillary, or did they vote for President Trump? Do you think that this county, their sheriff is a Trump Republican or a Democrat? I don't know. But I do know this. This is not America. This is not America. This is not the America that I lived in just a couple of months ago. And the tone of these officers to go and knock on people's doors with that attitude and put their name on a list for the community, what are they going to do with that list? Where will that list be put? Will it be public? Will it be online? Will it be on light poles and cross? I don't know. What's the purpose of the list? They're registering people who, in their opinion, violate social distancing guidelines. We've lost our right, our freedom of association in this country. You can't let your child play with another child. All right, let's take our last break of the first hour. Our number, I'd like to hear your thoughts. How do you feel about that? They sound like brown shirts to me. That's definite brown shirt-like behavior, in my opinion, and out-of-control law enforcement, out-of-control government. And even though that's Wisconsin, not here in Florida, liberals are very comfortable with that because they know, as the government, they know what's best for you, not you. They know what's best. Our number, HHH-GO-KANE-1. That's Kane with a K, K-A-N-E, and the number 1. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Let's take our last break of the first hour, and we will be right back. Don't you go anywhere.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beat. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30.
Crazy behavior.
Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great price.
They scare me.
Design my mustache. Make it a little more narrow.
Oh, for that. Yeah, right. Hitler.
9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
Dr. Matez, we talk about charisma. Hormone replacement pellet therapy brings back a lot of things in people, and one of the things I think it brings back is charisma, because I've met many listeners that are patients of Dr. Matez that I've met before they were patients of Dr. Matez, and I noticed a big difference. And one thing I noticed is a lot of confidence in guys after they start hormone replacement pellet therapy.
Never admit anything to the police.
Yeah,
we're in China.
It changes
That's
your
right.
life. It changes the way you view the world. You know how I put it once?
Sun's starting to come out.
Looking at the world.
You can see some cars and trees. You'll see it more later.
And you look at the world, and the world is like a Technicolor. And when you give up the hormone therapy, it's
This
like
coffee
watching the
from
world in black and white.
7-Eleven is cold.
Difference. Like
That's a fantastic analogy.
Isn't it? And it's true. That's how it
Yeah, I thought it would be better if I'm closer to the video. I don't know. I'm still getting comfortable here. I don't know where I'm going to stand.
And we tend to
Steve
get
Kane Show.
a very black and white type of existence. A lot of
Hey,
people,
Debbie, hold on.
Everybody's different. But when you get your hormone levels back and you get that vigor back, you feel good.
It's only the second day here. I'm not sure.
Very bright and colorful.
I mean, I experience this myself, and I see it on listeners.
It is happening everywhere.
I'll see a guy, and he's like, and then I'll see him after he has become a patient of yours, and with hormone replacement pellet therapy, he seems like he's standing up strong, confident, 10 feet tall. What is it about hormone replacement pellet therapy that does that to guys?
I believe it's because you're putting God's nectar back into the body, basically. God gave us testosterone in particular to give us energy and strength and endurance and muscle mass. It's what makes not just men. It's what makes people people.
I'm not used to standing up. Who was that?
All of those things away from you.
Richie. That's Richie the bus driver. I like standing up.
What is the number they call to make that appointment?
Because
561-953-5490.
I can sit down if I want.
553-5490.
I'll sit down sometimes, but you know, gives you more energy this hour of the morning. I did yesterday. All right, welcome back, welcome back. We're having a discussion in the YouTube live chat because in our new studio, I can, as I'm doing now, stand up. I don't have to sit down. And people, you can't stand up for 3 hours. I did it yesterday. I'll sit down. I got a chair here, but I've been sitting down for years on the radio. It's nice to stand up. It's nice to stand up. Welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. Let's take some calls. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Hi, Brian. This is Debbie. I'm from Wisconsin, but I'm down here in Pompano Beach right now because I had to fly back here.
Okay.
Got my vehicle. Since they had those strict orders back in Wisconsin, and everybody's telling me, no, you can't leave, or you're going to be quarantined for 4 days.
So what do you think about these deputies that went to this mom's house over the play date?
Well, I'm running out of patience with these Democrats. They need to see your hormone doctor down there because they're unbalanced. They really are. I don't know if they have this control hormone that's still in them, but it's ridiculous. About a month ago, there's a truck driver that went through a restaurant. It was a drive-through. Someone called the police on him because he was
Well, this is frightening. Yeah, and, you know, I play that clip of this mom in Wisconsin, not just because it's outrageous, but because someone called the police and said that her child played with another child. 2 deputies responded to both homes and put their names on a list. And what we're going to find as America begins to reopen, that the phone lines to 911 are going to be filled with liberals reporting people because they believe they violated social distancing guidelines. This is like the old days of the Soviet Union. Really, is what it is.
Governor Evers has lockdown yet back in Wisconsin until the 26th of May. I mean, when is this going to stop?
I don't know too much about Wisconsin politics. Is it strong? Is it a Democrat stronghold? Are these Democrats?
Majority of them.
Yeah, shocker. You know, Democrats are tyrants. They love power. They enjoy it. They believe that the government should be running every aspect of your life. And that clip that I played, I would imagine to most Democrats, they think that the woman's crazy and out of line and the police should have visited her home.
No, this is getting out of hand. They need to come down here and see your hormone doctor.
Yes, Dr. Matez.
Balance their brain again.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so you're going back. So you're going to leave Florida. You're going to leave Florida and drive back to North Korea, Wisconsin.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I have to go back in a couple of weeks. But I had to come here to get my vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. Well, I appreciate the call.
There was only 31 passengers on the flight. Everyone had masks.
Oh, when did you fly to Florida? When did you fly back to Florida?
Last week, Saturday.
Oh, last Saturday. So what did you? Well, you're in Pompano. Did you fly into Fort Lauderdale? So.
To pick me up. They told me they're not picking anybody up.
So what? Really?
But it's coming in.
Well, I talked to an Uber driver a couple weeks ago. He said he won't pick people up at the airport.
Well, I was just a lucky one that ran into a Lyft driver, and he was just dropping someone off from Miami. And I said, I got to get the Pompano. I'll give you cash. So, and then the price is 3 times as much as what I used to pay.
Yeah, of course. But the airfare was cheap, right? What did it cost you? $10 to fly to Florida from Wisconsin?
No, it was $113.
That's a good deal.
It was only $86.
$86, Fort Lauderdale to Wisconsin. Wow, that's amazing. Well, you know, this story of this mom in Wisconsin, I hope that this story is huge news in Wisconsin. Well, this story right here should be the lead story in the national news right now. It should be a lead story everywhere. I haven't seen it in any of the mainstream media.
There's got to be some Democrats that are going to be voting for Trump. They're going to go the other way because this is not.
Well, when yesterday when the governor, our great Republican governor Ron DeSantis, Donald Trump's apprentice, opened up the entire state except the 3 Democrat stronghold counties, Broward, Dade, and Palm Beach. My guess is, maybe I'm wrong, but that the community of people will be so pissed off that the rest of the state is in phase 1. They can go out and have dinner in a restaurant and sit down, and that they can open up their malls and do all of that. And we can't here in South Florida, that there's going to be a lot of pressure put on the Democrat county commissions to reopen things down here like the rest of the state. I would like to think that.
I was shocked that he didn't open it up. And these people need to get back to work. Not everybody can, stay at home or stay in.
I saw a story today of a guy in Canada. A guy in Canada was shoplifting because he shut down. He can't work. Didn't have money, so he went and stole food. He got caught, and they let him keep the food because they felt sorry for him because he just was stealing to save, to feed his family. I mean, that's the kind of story you would hear during the Great Depression. Stories like that. Not in this era.
And if the vehicles lined up to get food, it's so bad for these people.
It's god awful. And you know who we have to blame? We have the media and we have Democrats. I'll tell you another thing, too, about the media. Fox News, Ed Henry yesterday was talking to a guy about meat shortages. I was at Publix yesterday, a little light in the meat department, little light. A lot of the reason for that is the media are continuing to run stories on food shortages like they were doing on toilet paper. And there's a lot of what's going on so far as meat shortages in your local grocery store is because Fox News for every day for a week have been talking about the coming food shortage. The media are driving a lot of what's going on here in a very negative way.
Yeah, I agree. The beach, just to walk on the beach, but yet there's people passing each other. I just came back from a walk, and you're passing people on the sidewalk. What's the difference in walk?
Well, I'm curious, when you get back to Wisconsin, give us a call, because I'm curious, as you cross from one state into another, if you're met by state troopers in any of the states.
If I can dial the phone with handcuffs on, I'll give you a...
All right, let us know. I want to find out if any state troopers along the way stop you when you cross into states.
You might have the National Guard out there.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. They may. All right, take care, Wisconsin. Oh my goodness. I know. That's the new America, people. That's the new America. Oh man. All right, our number toll free 1-888-GO-CANE-1. 888-465-2631. A toll free call from anywhere. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, the Steve Kane Radio Show. Hey, have you guys stopped by Ace Hardware in Deerfield or Beach Ace Hardware yet and gotten your free bandana? If you haven't, you need to. Those bandanas, by the way, are extra thick bandanas, the bandanas that you see lawn crews and construction crews wear. My lawn guy was at my house yesterday, and he was wearing one of those bandanas. They're extra big, so you can tie them around the back of your head comfortably. They're thick so that lawn crews and construction workers don't inhale all of that material. And Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware are giving those away for free if you mention the Steve Kane Show. In fact, I'm going to go there tomorrow, Friday, after the show, because the Deerfield location of Ace Hardware is just a few blocks down the street from our new studio here. And Steve and I are going to stop by there tomorrow, and I'm going to get him a bandana while we're over there. But just stop in, mention the Steve Kane Show. The Deerfield location, located just south of Hillsboro on the west side of US 1 Federal Highway. Beach Ace Hardware is at 232 Commercial Boulevard, Lauderdale by the Sea. All right. 1 hour down, 2 to go. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
We have on the line attorney Barry Siegel, our estate planning attorney. And he's going to tell you what you can do to take care of your family in this very difficult period. Barry, what have you seen happening with estate planning since the outbreak of the coronavirus?
Since the outbreak of the corona-19 virus, people have taken a estate plan. And
see the cars coming by?
One of the things that we talk
well,
about
thanks,
often
Nick.
is how people procrastinate when it comes to setting up their estate planning, because estate planning, most of the time for people, is something they should do. But what the coronavirus has done with the outbreak and concern is made people put this at the top of their list. So it's, instead of it being a should, it's become a must. And therefore, we have received a ton of calls from people who have been telling us that they've been meaning to do this for a long time, but now they've realized how important it is to make sure, even if they're doing everything right and they stay home and do their social distancing, they still just want to make sure that they have that peace of mind that they've set up their.
I'm still getting used to the new setup.
Many people prefer face-to-face meetings. I typically
Software
am
update.
one of those people. With what's going on, we are still able to help people either by doing
I'll do the software update. I probably should. Well, thank you, Lisa.
video consultation. We can send a link over to you, and all you have to do is touch the button, and all of a sudden we're face-to-face. We can see each other, and we can have a consultation.
Oh yeah, Ben Shapiro. Yeah, the Ben Shapiro thing I want to do next.
You don't have to worry about your safety. You don't have to come in wearing gloves and a mask. All you have to do is we ask you that you fill out a questionnaire if you're married. That both you.
This thing with Ben Shapiro is awesome.
We're able to do the same things, and that's the
What a
same
jerk.
questions, the same conversations that we
What a
do
jerk.
right there in our conference room, either over the
See, I'm
phone
sitting
or
down
over
now.
the conference. It's been working
This
out
is
very,
me
very
sitting
well.
down.
People are very concerned in this time about their health care. What planning is important for people to have as it relates to
Oh
their
yeah,
health care?
call in, Nick.
Brian, the healthcare planning is so very important. There are, the first one is the healthcare surrogate designation.
No doubt about that. Welcome, everyone. Make sure you subscribe. This is our top of the hour break.
A surrogate or an agent who steps into your shoes and make your healthcare decisions for you if you are unable to do so. We always recommend that you name at least two, or you can name two people together, but the people you name can step in and make decisions for you health-wise, even life-ending decisions.
Hey, Chuck.
The second healthcare document that is very
Yeah, I'll have a new podcast episode today. I didn't podcast the last couple of days because I was working on moving this.
Your own healthcare decisions, and you have a terminal condition, an end-stage condition, or you're in a persistent vegetative state, the living will tell your healthcare surrogate whether or not you want to be kept alive on a machine if the machine is the only thing keeping you alive while you're in those conditions. So it's very important to have that, the healthcare decision maker will be able to know what it is.
They put in a new delay system here for us. We are on a 2-minute delay. I can't believe.
You've been to a doctor in the last, let's say 17 years since the HIPAA law came out.
Vote Republican is what you can do. Vote Republican. That's the main thing you can
Share
do.
your private medical information with anybody other than other doctors, other specialists, other medical providers. The HIPAA authorization and release that you set up with your estate planning says, I want my medical information kept private, but you can share it with my spouse, my child, my brother, my sister, my friend, whoever it is that you would want them to be allowed to access your medical information, either by talking to the doctors and nurses and other medical staff, or even getting your medical records. So all three of those.
He's a never Trumper.
Are so important for everyone to have, just in everyday life, let alone during these times.
Now, Barry, the Siegel Law Group, you are donating healthcare documents to people in high-risk professions. It's
It'll build up if I
first
hit the
responders,
delay.
And even those who work at animal clinics and shelters.
Yeah.
That's the longest delay I've ever had. Usually it's 7.5 seconds. Well, thanks, Laura. Appreciate it.
They are just real
Appreciate
heroes out there who are taking care of all of these.
This coffee from 7-Eleven sucks. It's so
Make sure
cold.
that they have the proper documentation that they needed for their own planning for themselves and their families so that they would be protected. So we are offering healthcare workers, first responders, and those who deal with animals in animal clinics and animal shelters.
Anyone? I don't know about anyone, but certainly from New York. We should be quarantining people from New York 20 years ago. I mean, they screw up our elections here. Thanks, Nick.
That heavy load for all of us. We thank you very much. When you call the Siegel Law Group, we will give you a
here we
free
go.
consultation. That consultation can be either over the phone or by video conference. But the consultation will be free. So please give us a call and we will set that up for you.
Call Barry Siegel's office right now and take advantage of that free consultation. His number is toll-free, 1-855-FLA-3782, 1-855-FLA-3782, online, SiegelLawGroup.com.
listening to
yeah, there is right here, but
radio show.
no the hell way.
Cocaine 1. That's
Screw that.
188 Cocaine 1.
The engineer. I know it's crazy.
Steve Kane.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Sun's coming out. You can start to see out of the window behind me now, which is nice. Day 2 in the new studio. And the engineer, he put in a new delay system here in the studio. And, you know, we're always on delay. But the delay that they put in is the longest delay that I have ever worked with. I don't know why they put one in so long. I guess I don't know. Now, usually the delay that we are on is 7.5 seconds. And the reason you have a delay is in case someone calls in and says a word you're not allowed to say. You hit the dump and it's no problem. 7.5 seconds is plenty of time. Plenty of time. I've never had a problem with the 7.5 seconds. Most people around the country are 7.5 seconds. But there's a trick to using the delay on the radio. And very few people know what the trick is. I hear this all the time. I've listened to nationally syndicated shows and have heard the F word go out. And the reason that is when someone uses profanity, typically the person in the studio panics. I'm cool, calm, and collected. I'm like an astronaut when it comes to that, okay? And what they do is they hear the F word or the S word or some profanity that's not allowed. They hit the dump button, and when you hit the dump button, you go live until the delay builds back up. They hit the dump button, and the caller's still there. And the caller will say it again, and it goes out over the air. So the trick is 7.5 seconds is plenty of time for a delay. That's an eternity, really. The delay button's right, you know, I got to lean over here to hit it, but it's pretty close. You hang up on the caller and then hit the delay. And it's amazing to me how many people don't know this that are doing national programs. You hang up on the caller and then hit the delay. They do it the other way around. They leave the caller on the air when there's no delay. Well, so anyway, our delays have always been 7.5 seconds. I don't know why 7.5 seconds. That's kind of like the industry standard. The new delay that our engineer, by the way, is the best engineer I've ever known. I've known a lot of engineers. This guy, he is spectacular. His name's Don. Don, the engineer over here. He put in a delay that is 2 minutes long. 2 minutes. Not 7.5 seconds. 120 seconds. So, I know, that's a long time. I could walk across the building and hit that in time. I don't know why it's 2 minutes long. It's 2 minutes long. And yeah, that means if somebody called in, I could let them go on for 1 minute and 58 seconds. They could just go on and on and on. And then I could hang up on them and hit the dump button and it wouldn't go out on the air. 2 minutes. I didn't know the delays could be adjusted to be that long. So what happens with the delay, you don't normally notice it so much as a regular listener. I can hear when people hit the dump button because I listen with a different ear. You know, you go live instantly, but 7.5 seconds, you don't miss much of a beat. If I were to hit the dump button now, almost everything I just said about the delay wouldn't go out over the air. What you hear on the radio is 2 minutes old. Whatever you're listening to on the radio right now, or even on our live streams, if you're listening on the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, or any of our live streams, except YouTube. YouTube is live because I got the camera right here. But if you're listening on the radio or you are listening on any of the live streams, whatever you hear me say, I said 2 minutes ago. It's like I'm in the future and you are in the past. I know, it's kind of crazy, isn't it? All right, well, listen, welcome. We are in hour number 2. It's 10 minutes after 7 o'clock in the morning. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Now, Ben Shapiro, I don't like Ben Shapiro at all. I've tried to like Ben Shapiro. I don't like Ben Shapiro. I can't tell you why. I don't know. Maybe you guys could tell me. Now, there is one thing that I don't like about Ben Shapiro that I can be very specific about. He was a never-Trumper. And he did write a column during the campaign, during the 2016 election cycle, and it was headlined, Why I Will Never Vote for Donald Trump. So, but I don't think that's why. I've never liked Ben Shapiro. I remember Ben Shapiro before that. I've never liked him. I do listen to his show on occasion. I don't listen to his show too much. I just don't like him. And I don't know. Is it because he talks so fast? I don't know what it is. Maybe you guys could call and tell me, why do you not like Ben Shapiro? Because I ask people this sometimes on the air, and I never have met a conservative that says, oh, I love Ben Shapiro, except one person. And I'm not going to tell you who this person is because it's someone that many of you in the listening audience know, and I don't want to embarrass them by letting everybody that knows them know that they like Ben Shapiro. But I can't stand Ben Shapiro. That's me personally. Now maybe you guys can call and tell me, why do you not like Ben Shapiro? But Ben Shapiro said something yesterday that is disgusting. Disgusting. And the fact that Ben Shapiro is a Jew is relevant to this comment. He's talking about death during the coronavirus pandemic. And what he says about death, it's almost like he's bringing back the world of Logan's Run. Remember Logan's Run? Once you were 30, that was it. You were done. Listen to this. This is, let me pull this up here. Ben Shapiro, this is yesterday. He's talking about death during coronavirus. Listen to this, Ben Shapiro.
Always going to make a public policy consideration. Nobody just wants to say the obvious truth, which is that we're all making actuarial deductions about what are the costs in terms of how many human lives, how many years of life, because that is an actual issue in actuarial tables, right? If somebody who is 81 dies of COVID-19, that is not the same thing as somebody who is 30 dying of COVID-19. I mean, if this were killing children, everyone would be...
Okay, boom. Someone who is 80 dying is not the same as someone who's 30 dying. Do you guys agree with that? See the freight train going by? Do you guys agree with that? I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. You know, Ben Shapiro, so someone who is 80 years old, 81 years old, their life is not as valuable as someone who is 30. You know, what kind of position is that for a conservative to have? You know, a conservative position is very pro-life. I'm opposed to the death penalty. That's how pro-life I am. I'm opposed to abortion. I'm opposed to the death penalty. I am pro-life. If I were on a capital murder case and there was a death penalty possibility, I would have to tell them in the jury pool, I am against the death penalty. You put me on that jury, I am not sending anyone to the execution chamber, and I wouldn't do it. I would not be able to do it. I might have to go not guilty on a jury in a situation like that. I don't have it in me to send someone to the electric chair or the gas chamber, whatever they do. I'm opposed to the death penalty. To hear a conservative value life based on age, if it's not the same thing for a 30-year-old and an 80-year-old, well, is it different for a 5-year-old and a 30-year-old? Is a 5-year-old's life, a 10-year-old's life more? What about a 40-year-old? Is a 40-year-old's life not as valuable as a 30-year-old's life, Ben Shapiro? What he's saying is they've got more to do. They've got more time to do it. So their life is more valuable. That's not how I think. And I got to tell you, hurting people based on it's acceptable for this person to die because of age, and it's not acceptable for that person to die because of age, or it's not as tragic because, oh, they've lived a long time. As a Jew, that's very troubling too, for him to say. I'm not a Jew. He's a Jew. Okay. Pretty disgusting stuff. Your thoughts on Ben Shapiro? 1-888-GO-CANE-1. That's our number. 888-465-2631. All right. Good morning. You're on the radio. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Brian. This is John from Wellington.
Hey, John in Wellington. Any thoughts on Ben Shapiro?
Yes, I agree with him. It's a horrible thing when anybody dies, but if somebody dies at the age of 80, it's not as tragic as if somebody died at 30.
Well, what if you're maybe you think that, but what about the 80-year-old?
Well, the 80-year-old had a good run. Again, I'm not saying it's okay to die. I wish everybody could live to be 150.
They had a good run. Okay, at what age does the good run? Come on, this isn't funny. I don't think this is funny at all. At what age does the good run happen? What if you're 55 and someone's 30? Is it a bigger tragedy if a 55-year-old or a 30-year-old dies instead of a 55-year-old? Because at 55, they've had a longer run?
I'm afraid to tell you this, but it's all relative.
Hmm.
It depends on the situation.
I think it depends on how old you are. I think it's, Ben Shapiro is a typical millennial. When you hear millennial liberals, when he's 36 years old, that's a millennial. When you hear liberal millennials talk about climate change and gun control, what do they say? Shut up, boomer. What does that mean when they say shut up, boomer? When millennials say shut up, boomer, what does that mean?
That means you're old and you are not relevant anymore.
Yeah, it means something more specific. And sometimes you'll hear them say this. I'm going to be on earth after you're dead, so my opinion is more valuable than yours because I'm younger than you, I'll be here. So these decisions will affect me longer. That's what that means. Yeah, and I'm here to tell you that when you have people like Ben Shapiro and you saying, well, 80 years old, you've had a good run, that's a death panel like we used to talk about during Obamacare.
That is absolutely true, but I'm not sentencing anybody to death. And I want everybody to get chemotherapy if they need it. I want everybody to get the drugs if they need it. However, what he's saying is a generic statement. And he's saying it because it pulls on the heart.
Now, what are your pulls on the heartstrings? What heart is that?
I'm about to tell you. If you hear about an 85-year-old person that has cancer, you think to yourself, oh, that's terrible. And then you watch TV and you look at the TV commercials for St. Jude Children's Hospital, and a 5-year-old has the same form of cancer, that pulls on the heartstrings. That poor child hasn't had a chance to live. And at this point, he's fighting for his life.
What are your thoughts in general about Ben Shapiro, beyond this?
I'll be honest, I don't follow the guy.
Oh, yeah, that's probably. Maybe if you did, you'd have a different opinion. He's a detestable person.
Maybe.
All right, John in Wellington. I'll put you in the Ben Shapiro column. You're on the radio. Good morning. Oh, there we go. Hold on. There we go. Hold on. Good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Good morning, Brian. And also shout out to big friendly Mike over there.
Oh, yeah, Friendly Mike and Friendly Tire. Yeah.
Listen, absolutely, man. I drive a Jaguar and save me $100. Give me $100 off. Also, he thought he had the tire in stock. When I drove over there, he took an extra 10 off because when I arrived, the tires didn't show up on time.
You have a Jaguar. Wow.
Those tires are kind of thick. It's a 2006. It's my sports car there, and 240 in the front, 245 in the back. And so anyway, big shout out to Mike.
Good. Saved you a lot of money going to, as opposed to going to those other places, right? Yeah, that's right. See, I told you, if you have a luxury car, a sports car, this guy's got a Jag, Friendly Tire. I see cars like yours over there all the time. That's great. Appreciate that. What are your thoughts on Ben Shapiro?
Listen, I don't even want to talk about Shapiro. I want to give my kudos to the young lady up there who handled those policy enforcers as we're supposed to handle them.
Are you talking about the Playdate mom in Wisconsin?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think what's important is when you say push back, there's a way to push back, and that's for us to
No, I don't like Ben.
the law.
No.
And if you notice, she calmed them down when she asked them, they kept asking for her name, and she said, show me the law that requires me to do so. And they had no comeback. And so, you see, they have to realize that we don't answer questions, Brian. We ask them. You see, they're policy enforcers. They're not police officers because nobody voted them into office.
Well, you know, your experience with police is different than mine probably because you're a black man in America and you get treated in a different way than I do. I mean, remember, like last year, the year before, I was stopped by the police 5-6 times. I didn't get one ticket, you know, and my daughter, you know, who's black, she says if you were black or Hispanic, Dad, you'd been getting tickets all the time. They let you go because you, and I agree with that. I think I got those passes because I'm I'm a creepy-ass cracker, a honky white boy. But, you know, somebody ratted that woman out. Someone called the police, probably 911, and reported her for having a play date. I mean, that's frightening to me.
Well, guess what? It is, but again, and I have to correct you again, Brian. I'm not a black man.
What are you? You sound black. Are you Hispanic?
No, I'm not black.
Are you white?
I'm a Native American.
You're an Indian? What, like Cherokee, Sioux, Seminole? What are you?
Okanichi.
Okanichi? Are you? Let me ask you this. Let me ask you a question. Serious question. Your skin complexion. What color are you?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what you would call it. You can ask Steve. Is he a white man? And he will tell you he's not. Black is not a nationality, and this is exactly why most of us.
Okay. Now we were doing so good talking about the mom and and Friendly Tire and everything, and now you're getting involved in all this stuff.
You went off subject. What I want to talk about is how we can protect ourselves and be able to push back properly from the.
Yeah. So what would you have done? Okay, so if they came to your house, you'd been reported for letting your child play with another child, what would you have done?
Well, first of all, if I didn't call them, I don't open my door to them. If I didn't make the...
To the police?
That's right, I don't open my door.
I would open my door to the police.
So that's you. See, what you do is you invite problems in. See, if I didn't call them and there's no emergency, why do I open up my door? And I'm going to tell you something else people don't realize. They're not even supposed to turn their flashing lights on unless...
See, now this is a reason why a lot of minorities run into trouble with the police because I'm not saying that you don't have the rights that you're talking about, but you are not in a court of law when you're at your house or the police arrive or you're out in the streets and you start arguing with the police and you get all jammed up.
No, let me tell you something. No, the problem that most of us have, Brian, they don't know the law. See, when I deal with them, okay, first of all, we know they start to ask me, oh, wow, you must be an attorney. See, they back down. I don't argue. I don't raise my voice because there's no need for that when you're armed with knowledge. And I'm going to tell you something else. As far as the mask is concerned here in Florida, you need to look up the statute 876.12.
Oh, my goodness.
It's illegal to wear a mask in Florida. So when they approached me and I asked the policy enforcer, I said, well, are you telling me to break that?
You know, I may ask, are you sure you're not black? You say axe all the time and all this. Are you sure you're not, like, your skin color is not brown? You're not black? Come on.
No, I'm going to say this to you again. And you're not white either. You're not a white.
I'm not white. Oh, I see. Okay.
I know my nationality. Black is something that this country put on a people, just like white. Okay, no other country.
So now I get it. If I saw you, I might say you're black, but you're not really black. Like I say I'm white and I'm not white.
No, anybody that you classify as black.
No, I am white. We in standard American English have decided that the color that is my skin tone is another color of white, just like the white piece of paper. It's another kind of white. This color is white, and yeah.
Well, let me tell you something, Brian. See, I'm native and you're not. I'm indigenous.
Excuse me, I'm indigenous to North America. I'm a Native American. I was born in Rhode Island, in New England. I am a Native American. I'm indigenous.
No, indigenous means how far does your lineage of your people go back, Brian? Let me tell you something. Europeans are actually not native to any land.
There are the only people that are truly indigenous that we know of. Do you know the only people we know of that are truly indigenous to the land that they inhabit are the Jews to Israel?
The original Jews, because the people that you refer to as Jews
are not Jews. I know nobody's anything to you. Well, listen, I got to run for a break. We disagree on a lot, but we certainly do not disagree that Friendly Tire is the place to go. And thanks for taking your Jaguar over to Friendly Tire and saving all that money. I appreciate that, man. Take care. All right, listen, let's take our break. When we get back, much more to talk about. I'm Brian Craig. This is The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll be back right after this.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires.
I'm not
at
white,
Friendly
he's
Tire
not black.
in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Gaines tires for his Toyota van.
The Indians, they came from Asia.
$175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone at 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net. Frank, the owner of Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware, wants you and your family to be protected during the coronavirus pandemic and has an incredible offer for listeners of The Steve Kane Show.
We get products continually coming in during the week. We get disinfectants, gloves, cleaning supplies. Everybody's looking for face masks. So the best thing that we came up with was a face covering. A lot of the cities are going to ask you to cover your face, so we've got a supply of bandanas. I'd love if every one of your customers that come in a free bandana just for mentioning the Steve Kane Show. The bandanas are...
actually, no, you'd be surprised.
As we start to get back to work and get out, that everybody's required to have their face covered. So you can use this bandana to cover your mouth.
Do I feel better with the window? I like the window. Yeah, the beach is right over here. Can't see the beach from here because of the high rises, but the ocean's right there. We're right down the street from the beach that's closed.
Maybe treat yourself to a new grill.
Wow, what a great deal.
The clock's bigger than it looks. There's a big clock here in front of me.
Deerfield, just south of Hillsborough Boulevard on the west side of US 1, and Beach Ace Hardware located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, Lauderdale by the Sea, and get your free bandana from Ace Hardware.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All right, welcome everyone. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. I'm surprised at some of our callers. First caller agrees with Ben Shapiro that it's not tragic when an 80-year-old dies as opposed to a 30-year-old. You know, the arrogance of youth, you know, it is so easy for someone to say, you know, Ben Shapiro, he thinks he's a conservative, but he's really a typical millennial. Let me go back and play this again. This was Ben Shapiro yesterday.
Always going to make this public policy consideration. Nobody just wants to say the obvious truth, which is that we're all making actuarial deductions about what are the costs in terms of how many human lives, how many years of life, because that is an actual issue in actuarial tables, right? If somebody who is 81 dies of COVID-19, that is not the same thing as somebody who is 30 dying of COVID-19. I mean,
wow. Unless you're the 80-year-old, then it's a big deal to you. That's a pretty twisted comment coming from a Jew. In my opinion, pretty outrageous comment. And, you know, so far as, you know, what the caller said from Wellington, well, if this was kids, you know, people have sympathy for children and animals. You know, I hate those commercials they run on TV with all the abused animals to try to get you to say send money in. You know, and, you know, people have sympathy for children and animals because they're helpless. But millennials think that they're the most important people out there. That generation, I don't know what it is about, I don't like millennials. Okay, I don't like millennials. Most millennials, liberal or conservative, are just like Ben Shapiro. It took me a long time to like Charlie Kirk. I think Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens are awesome, but it took me a long time to like them because they're millennials. All right? I don't like. How many of you guys really like millennials? And what Ben Shapiro says there is what I have heard many liberal millennials say. Okay, boomer, I'm going to be here after you're dead. My opinions are more valid than yours. My life is more valuable than... They have this hipster designation, millennial. Like mine's Generation X. You've got baby boomers, Gen X, millennials. The new one is Generation Y. They got all these labels. And I guess out of all of them, they've got the coolest title, millennials. They think they've done something. They've done nothing. including Shapiro. And I'm not saying I've done all kinds of things, but I'm just saying there's an arrogance from millennials at every level that you do not get for other generations. And when you have someone like Ben Shapiro triaging life with a death panel of what is more of a tragic loss of life, a 30 or an 80-year-old. I've been to funerals for people of all ages. I've been to funerals for people that had serious illnesses and they pass away, and you would think it would be a relief, you know, that, well, they're not suffering anymore. But you get to that funeral and it's just like they got run over by a bus instantly. You understand what I mean? I don't know, has Ben Shapiro been to many family funerals? Has he been close to grandparents who have passed? I don't know anything about him, but I know that that is some of the most insensitive comments I have ever heard from a conservative. And to hear a Jew classify what life is more valuable than another life is disgusting to me. 1-888-GO-CANE 1-888-465-2631. Good morning. You're on the air. Good morning.
Hey, Brian, this is Lee from Lauderdale Lakes.
Hey, Lee in Lauderdale Lakes. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Listen, great show. I love your show, podcast, and everything. I do not like Ben Shapiro. He irritates me. But I must say this to Brian, and this is important to listen. As human beings with life, we started out with 120, we end up with 7. Okay? And so I'm a pro-lifer. I'm all about life, like it's a death penalty. But the truth is, when you get to 80, Brian, you have lived your life, you have wisdom, you have experiences. And so 80 is actually an extra 10 years from 7. So you ask, what number would be the cutoff point? 80 is the cutoff point, Brian.
What, the cutoff point to 80 is the cutoff point for what, in your mind?
For the argument that you're saying, Ben Shapiro said the difference between an 80-year-old dying and a 30.
Well, no. You say 80 is the cutoff. What does that mean? What happens at the cutoff?
Once you live and get to 80, when that person dies, they have lived a full life. Hopefully by then.
How old are you? How old are you?
Honestly, I am going to be 54 this year.
54. Okay. So, okay, they at 80 years old, that's it. Soylent Green time. What about 79 years old?
Give you the ventilator and.
Oh, you'll give a ventilator to a 79-year-old. How nice of you. Are you a Trump guy?
I am a Trump guy.
You're talking about a death panel. So you would give a ventilator to a 79-year-old. What about an 80-year-old?
Again, what I hear you. What I'm saying is based on the conversation that you're talking.
No. You said, yeah, this is bizarre. So you agree, you don't like Ben Shapiro, but you agree 80 years old is a cutoff. So no ventilator for an 80-year-old, but you'll give one to a 79-year-old?
If you want to make it a technical for this conversation, yeah.
Wow. So you got a death panel. You're like Obama with Obamacare.
No, Brian. No, you're taking it too far now. What I'm saying.
Yeah, you just said that you would not give you said that 80 years old is I'm shocked to hear conservatives talk this way. You say that 80 years old is a cutoff, no ventilator, they've lived their life, but a 79-year-old's got a year left. It's Logan's Run, you've just changed the age a little bit.
No, I was just saying between the 80-year-old and 30-year-old conversation is.
No, you said 79 and 80. You said 80 is a cutoff to you.
I asked my questions, I responded to your question, but it doesn't change the fact that the conversation.
Okay, what if the 80-year-old? Okay, what if the? Do you know who Ted Bundy is?
Yes.
Okay, what if the 80-year-old is me, and the 30-year-old is Ted Bundy? Who gets the ventilator, in your mind?
Who gets the ventilator?
You brought up ventilator, I guess, because of all the ventilator talk these days. Okay, Ted Bundy's 30. I'm 80. Who gets the ventilator?
In that case, you get the ventilator, Brian.
Not Bundy.
Say it.
Yeah. So you're going to decide who lives, who dies. Just you and Ben Shapiro and John from Wellington. You're going to decide who lives, who dies, who's lived long enough. Does that sound like America to you?
No, Brian. I am not advocating that. I was just saying the conversation to be brought up. It needs to be considered, even as pro-lifers. We need to consider it. when a 30-year-old dies, Brian, it is sad as much as...
Well, let me tell you about what's going on here. About 20% of the deaths have been in nursing homes. So a lot of very elderly people have passed because of that. It's not about an age cutoff. It's about unsanitary, unhealthy conditions in nursing homes throughout this country. New York, they had a big problem. Here in Florida, a huge chunk. And this death panel that you are talking about is frightening.
My father is in a nursing home right now, and every day I pray.
So let me ask you, back in the days of the Holocaust, if the Nazis were only gassing 80-year-olds, would the Holocaust have been as bad?
I'm not advocating for that.
No, I'm not saying that, but let's just say, in the early days of the Holocaust, they were executing sick and elderly people. Okay, so if an 80-year-old has, if it was just 80 years and above that the Nazis were exterminating, would it have been as much of a tragedy to you?
The Holocaust was wrong, Brian.
Of course it was wrong, but if they were only doing it to 80-year-olds and above, would it have been as bad to you?
That question, because it's wrong in my mind, it's wrong.
Well, you said 80 years old, you've lived your life. It's long enough.
In the context of what Ben Shapiro said, I was responding to that. Again, I'm about preserving life. All right, life is...
Let me ask you this: in a murder case, if someone murders a 30-year-old and another person murders an 80-year-old, should the person that murdered the 30-year-old get a longer prison sentence than the person that murdered the 80-year-old?
No, murder is murder. You get what?
Well, wait. What do you mean? Wait a minute. You said an 80-year-old shouldn't get a ventilator. You said they've lived their life. It's enough. What Ben Shapiro was saying is a 30-year-old's got more life to live. It's a greater loss than an 80-year-old. That's what Ben Shapiro is saying. That's what you were saying. So shouldn't someone who is convicted of murdering a 30-year-old do more time than someone who murdered an 80-year-old?
No, murder is murder. It's a 30-year-old or an 80-year-old. It's murder is murder. All right. So we give the punishment for that. All I'm just saying, I'm not agreeing with Ben Shapiro.
It sounds like it, you are.
It's something we need to consider. I started off by saying we start off with 120 years to live, and we end up with 70.
I know 70. I don't know where you're getting your numbers. You have an accent. Maybe 70 is where you're from originally. Maybe 70.
It says the days of man is 3, 4, and 10.
People in this country regularly live over 90, and many live over 100. All right, listen, I got to run for a break. Thanks for the call. Oh my, I'm really shocked at the response of this audience. I really am. I find the callers disturbing this morning. This is really disturbing. I thought Ben Shapiro was way out in outer space, but apparently he's more in touch with people in this listening audience than I am, based on these calls. All right, let's take our break. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. We'll be right back after this.
Are you between the ages of 18 and 60 and have thought about getting life insurance but never had the time? Or thought life insurance was too much work? Well, now is the time. Life insurance has changed. People are living longer, so rates are being reduced. These new life insurance policies also have living benefits, which means the owner can accelerate a portion of the policy's initial death benefit should the insured become critically, chronically, or terminally ill. And the majority of applicants get approved without a medical exam and simplified underwriting, which means you're approved even faster. Iowa Advisors can still assist anyone from the ages of 60 to 85 with life insurance. Call Debbie and her team to learn more. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
This is Steve Kane. I'm sitting here with my friend and my attorney, Barry Siegel.
I know. I'm shocked at these callers.
Barry, you offer...
I thought conservatives were pro-life.
Elder law. And since I'm getting up there in years, I'd like to find out exactly what that is and when and if...
I'm glad Steve's not here to hear this.
Elder law, think of it as asset protection. Now, as we age and get into our retirement years, the number one concern or threat to our assets is
Pretty
the
brutal.
cost of long-term care. Care either at home, in an assisted living facility, or in a nursing home can be very, very expensive. And
Steve
if
Kane
you
Show.
weigh at your assets, it can even deplete your
Hey, Ray.
assets to nothing. Imagine if
Oh, perfect. Ray and Sunrise. He's up there.
you go into a facility and your spouse at home has nothing left.
Ageism.
Or you may end up not having
That's right.
any assets left.
Make sure you
to
guys
make your
subscribe, all right? And
So with
share
Powerball,
the video on
you're
all your
able
social
to
media with
get
whatever hashtags you can come up with. I'd appreciate that too.
government benefits that may be
I'm sitting
available
down now, resting my
to
feet a
you
little
or
bit.
your spouse,
I put on an old
such
pair
as
of
Medicaid
shoes.
or veteran
I have 4
benefits.
pairs of the same
And
shoes,
even if you
right?
don't
Same
think
color and
you're
everything.
eligible for these benefits,
And I'm
you'd
wearing
be
an old,
surprised.
worn-out pair today. I
That's
didn't know it
what
was
elder law
dark.
attorneys do is we help people
All the shoe
who
stores
may
are
not
closed.
be eligible at this point become eligible so that they can protect their assets for themselves, their spouse, and their loved ones.
Well, it sounds like a really great idea. I suggest you call my attorney, Barry Siegel, and he will be glad to set up an appointment and explain everything to you in even more detail. His number, toll free, 1-855-FLA-37. That you're on the Steve Kane Show.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. I'm so glad we have Ray in Sunrise on the line because he has passed the Ben Shapiro cutoff. I'm very curious to hear his thoughts on this. Let me play just one more time Ben Shapiro and what he said about 80-year-olds versus 30-year-olds, and then we'll find. I have no idea what Ray's going to say. He may agree with Ben Shapiro.
Public policy consideration, nobody should say the obvious, which is that we're all making actuarial deductions about what are the costs in terms of how many human lives, how many years of life. That is an actual issue in actuarial tables, right? If somebody who is 81 dies of COVID-19, that is not the same thing as somebody who is 30 dying of COVID-19. I mean,
Wow. Okay, there we go. All right, Ray in Sunrise. How old are you, Ray, again?
I was gonna, but you ruined my introduction.
You can do your own introduction.
I was gonna say, let me stop. First of all, even including that 60-year-old last guy, how glibly these young people go talking about euthanasia. That's what these
Yeah.
in Nazi Germany, they belong with Mengele. It's unbelievable.
That's right.
I was going to say, I know an 85-year-old man.
Yeah.
Actually, he's going to be 86 in about 2 months. I guess everybody knows who we're talking about.
Yeah, you.
Now.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something. The reason, there's a lot of reasons why Ben Shapiro is a Jew saying this makes it worse in my opinion. But if they say 80's the cutoff, next year it'll be, what will it be, 75? Though you understand what I'm saying? It's euthanasia. It's crazy.
Or because you have some infirmity.
Yeah.
I mean, see, somebody is a Jew because of birth, all right? Now, there are Jews who are not Jews. It's like the black guy before who called us not a black guy and so on,
Yeah.
You make up whatever the hell you want to be in these days. You want to be gay, you're gay. You want to be a girl, you're a boy. Anyway, I don't want to get off on that track. But I would say this, as an 85, almost 86-year-old man, okay? If I died, Brian, my sister, who's 87, she would be devastated.
Yeah.
I would be devastated as she died. We are probably 2 of the most important people in the world to each other. Now, that's not to gainsay. I have 2 grandchildren. They love me. They call me Opa Gau. Opa means grandfather in Dutch, the Dutch background. Anyway, they would miss me, right? I'm on a little committee of about 4 or 5 people. We meet once a month with my pastor at church. I think that group might miss me, too. I have a Bible study group. Everybody in the Bible study group is probably at least over 70.
Yeah.
Some are in their 80s. Some are in their 90s, okay? I would be devastated if we already lost 2 in the last year who passed away, all right? Well, we're devastated by these losses. These are old.
Ben Shapiro to me sounds like someone that has not suffered an emotional loss. Now, maybe he's had grandparents that have passed away. I'm not saying he hasn't. but he does not have an emotional tie to anyone that has passed away in a normal sense, in my opinion. I mean, I remember I had my stepfather died from he had a massive stroke. He was paralyzed, and then he got cancer, and died. And he suffered. He couldn't speak. He couldn't walk. He had cancer, you know. And I thought while he was sick that death would be a relief in a way. And then I go to the funeral and I'm bawling and everyone's bawling. Just because someone's age or disability, or they have a stroke and they're paralyzed, it doesn't make the death any easier at all. It makes it just as tragic. I don't care if they're 95 or 125.
You see, that's why, I mean, I would never criticize you because you're a good interviewer and everything else. But I would have asked that guy that called before. I would say, do you have grandparents?
Yeah.
He died. Would you be hurt by that? Would you be?
Yeah.
Are you going to rejoice that finally he's in heaven and he's at peace and he's happy? No, you don't.
Well, Ben Shapiro, I'm sure Ben Shapiro has grandparents. He's 36 years old. Chances are he's had grandparents that have passed away, and he may think he was close to them, but I don't think so. Not emotionally. My grandparents died, my last grandparents died when I was like 18, 19. I still think about them every day.
And there's another thing that's involved here.
Oh, thanks, Greg.
And that is this. When I grew up, parents and family and the extended family, this was the most important thing. There's nothing thicker than blood, we used to say, and so on. These young people today, not even young people, people in their 40s and 50s, and you had the guy in the 60s there, they're only into themselves.
Yeah.
Don't consider other people. Their world is them. The Me Too has a different connotation now and so on, but these people are all self-centered. They don't give. They're not loving, really. They don't love parents. They probably think, well, what can my grandfather give me for Christmas this year, and so on.
Yeah.
What do I get from these people? What do I receive from them? That's the only loss they'll ever feel is that they're going to lose something that they're going to be.
Well, it's like that old saying, there's no atheist in foxholes. When it comes their time to be 81, it'll be a different story.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of them are looking forward to the day that a parent or a grandparent dies so they get an inheritance.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. That's right. There's a lot of that. That's one of the things with Attorney Barry Siegel with the trust. You've got to be, with your healthcare documents, you want to be very careful because a lot of times family members or spouses are like Ben Shapiro. Moms live long enough. Moms live long enough. She's 83. Come on, Ray. That goes on, right? And they talk them into pulling out the plug.
Yep. That's why I say this is really an issue about euthanasia, not only about.
It is, and I find it disturbing to hear conservatives talk this way. I was surprised at those callers, 2 in a row.
It's sickening. Another question we could have asked that little fellow who's an Indian, a black man.
Yeah, exactly.
But now your favorite question, what do you do at work today?
Yeah.
What kind of job do you think he has? He can afford.
He's got a Jaguar.
All right, but he says ask instead of ask, and so on.
Well, what do you think? Well, I mean, a Jag is an expensive car.
Well, he meets his clients on the street corner.
Oh, okay. All right. Racial stereotypes. You're saying he's a drug dealer. Drug dealer?
Yeah, I know. All right. Hey, Ryan, I got to tell you one thing, though. Look at the Sun Sentinel first page today. You won't believe this. 2 mounted policemen, okay, in a park, enforcing the social guidelines, the distancing, and things like that. Big front page picture in the rag, the Sun Sentinel.
Where are they on? They're on horseback. Where?
They're on horseback. Wait a minute. Let me get it because I got it right here. Hold on a second.
The Sun Sentinel. You're the one who still reads the Sun Sentinel.
Wait, I get it for the quote.
I looked at the Sentinel and the Herald today. I was looking to see if they would be outraged that the entire state is opening up except Broward, Dade, and Palm Beach, and they don't seem to mind it too much.
These guys on these big steeds, of course, Davie mounted police officers greet a family while enforcing social distancing at Treetop Park in Davie on Wednesday.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Oh my goodness.
Well, while we're here, there's another little thing here. You know, they never talk about the tens of thousands, maybe millions of lives that Trump has saved by banning the flights to China.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting windy because I'm going from room to room.
Well, I looked at the clock. I got to run, Ray. But listen, I appreciate all the comments as always. You take care. Let's take our last break of the second hour. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We'll be right back after this.
You've heard Steve Kane talk about the great work and the incredible prices at Dr. Gupta's.
Oh my
Brighton
goodness.
Dental. Richie the bus driver called Steve Kane on the air and told him about his experience at Brighton Dental.
Good morning. I have to talk about Brighton Dental because your sponsor is a miracle worker. I broke my tooth. I fractured it and it went backwards in my mouth. Oh my.
Crazy.
I put it back into the socket. It felt like it was falling out. I had pain. I couldn't even eat spaghetti. And I was going to a wedding in New York 2 days later. And I said, what am I going to do? You know? And the dentist here wanted to charge me $120 just to look at it and to tell me he couldn't do anything. I went there to Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. I traveled 139 miles. I would do it again in a heartbeat. Each way. Okay, the man sat and worked on my tooth.
Make sure you guys subscribe.
Put a pin in it, put it back in place. I could eat anything I want. He said it was temporary. He did such a great job. It feels like permanent. I have no pain. I can eat anything I want now. And the fact of the matter, this is what really was unbelievable. I was getting on the bus to go to the reception.
Kathy's always right. I didn't even see what she said. But
City. He knew I was in New York. The phone rings. Who do you think's on the line?
Dr. Gupta.
Right. He wants to see if everything.
they keep the air conditioning so low in this building. It's freezing in here. I'm gonna have to start wearing socks. I'm glad I can stand because I can move around to keep warm.
Everybody needs a great dentist, and of course, for you Steve Kane listeners, you have one, Dr. Gupta, and he's over there at Brighton Dental. He takes really good care of you. He's very conscientious. He's, dentistry is an art.
Yeah, it's hot these days. It's Florida.
And Dr. Gupta certainly is an artist, and we're so pleased to have him with us.
Yeah, I just wanted
He talks
to
too
know
fast.
You need a dentist, and the guy is so good at what he does. He's so gentle, and I mean, I don't like dentists. This guy is this top shelf, and I'm going down to him to get it permanently put in. But right now, I don't have any pain. I can eat anything I want. Incredible.
Take Richie the bus driver's advice and go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. Call 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Day 2 in the new studio. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Don't forget, Wings Plus in Coral Springs open for lunch and dinner for takeout. The Ramblewood location, the Sample Road location, is being renovated, and hopefully we'll be back up and running in a couple weeks. There's been a lot of renovations. I went by the Sample Road location just a couple days ago because our old studio was right down just a couple blocks from that Sample Road location. Huge construction crew over there doing work. So right now, the Ramblewood location of Wings Plus is the location that's open for takeout, lunch and dinner. And it's over there by the Coral Square Mall in Coral Springs. University and Ramblewood Drive is where that location is. And you can find the phone number at stevekaneshow.com if you want to order ahead, or just stop on in the Wings Plus Ramblewood location. Let me give you the phone number, though. I got to look it up, guys. I don't have the Ramblewood location. And by the way, Brian Walsh, he owns that location, too. He owns both locations. The phone number, if you want to order in advance, 954-757-4950. 954-757-4950. That's the Ramblewood location of Wings Plus. All right. Okay, so welcome back, everyone. I got to tell you, this is crazy town on the phones today with this bench. I thought when I played that clip of Ben Shapiro, everybody would be outraged. And apparently a lot of people agree with Ben Shapiro. Well, hey, I cannot be right about every single thing I get. I feel I'm right about that, but what I was incorrect about was the reaction of the listeners. Now, I was talking at the start of the show. What's going on here in South Florida right now is outrageous. I'm going to leave it up to you guys to decide what to do about this. But yesterday, I've been waiting for this for days and days. Governor Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, came out and said that Florida is moving into phase 1. Now, phase 1 loosens up restrictions. You can go into a restaurant and sit down and have a meal. Of the 67 counties in Florida, 64 are opening up into phase 1 starting Monday. 3 counties are not. Miami, Broward, and Palm Beach County. Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach are not moving into phase 1. And Ron DeSantis said yesterday that the leadership in these 3 counties, the counties we're in and broadcasting from, are going against all the advice of the medical professionals that they've been consulting with, that they should be in phase 1, and they're not. Now, I'm not going to give out people's phone numbers to call. I know a lot of people on the radio like to give people's phone numbers out and call this office and that office. I'll leave it up to you guys to find that information. You can easily find whatever you need to know. Call up. I'm going to call up my local officials today, and I'm going to ask my wife to do the same, so that'll be 2 calls. I live in Palm Beach County. Open the damn county up into phase 1 like the rest, okay? Open it up like the rest of the counties. If Orlando can be in phase 1, South Florida can be in phase 1. And the question is, why are they doing this, right? Are they keeping Broward, Dade, and Palm Beach County closed down in the current situation because they have Trump derangement syndrome? And Ron DeSantis, he was at the White House, he's a Republican? Or is it that they just are Democrats that love having control over people's lives? Could be both. But when I heard that yesterday, I was angry. I was pissed off. And I'm still pretty angry about it, I must tell you. I am very angry about it. It's wrong. It is wrong. And, you know, part of the problem we have is with Broward County always does what Dade County does. I mean, that's you know, Broward County is Dade County's B, if you can figure out what the B stands for. I could say the word, but I'm not going to say it. In Palm Beach, I just more liberal Democrats. It is not a coincidence in my mind that the county that was the last to report election night results in 2016, Broward County, is not opening up when the rest of the state is. Come on. Come on. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Oh, hi, Brian?
Yes?
Oh, hello. I'm calling in regard to the person who spoke about the 80 person.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro thinks that 80, you've had a good run.
Well, I just wanted to tell you, I am 94.
Oh, my goodness.
And I agree if it comes to saving one person over the other, that the younger person should be saved. I mean, all lives are valuable. But I agree that if it's a matter of saving one person over another, it's the younger person.
Well, wait a minute. That's not what we're talking about here. What the callers were saying, there was one caller that said 80-year-old people shouldn't be given ventilators.
No.
If we only had one ventilator and a 25-year-old needed it and an 80-year-old needed it, I wouldn't give it to the 25-year-old just because of age. Or the 30-year-old, I would look at them and say, well, wait a minute. What you triage? Can this 30-year-old live without the ventilator? Do they need it? Does the 80-year-old need it? You don't say, well, they're 30, they're 80, they get the ventilator. That's crazy talk.
Oh, no. I misunderstood. I'm sorry. I agree with you.
And I got to tell you something. You're 94?
I've listened to you since the WFTL days.
Oh, but when you were just in your 70s.
Well, a long time ago.
Yeah, I know. Is that crazy?
Well, I listen to you every day, and I'm a staunch Republican. I've never voted for a Democrat.
Really?
But anyway.
Who was the first Republican you voted for?
Harry Truman.
No, that's a Democrat.
No, well, I didn't vote for him, but I mean in that election.
Oh, Dewey. You voted for Dewey.
I remember I wrote a letter to Governor Dewey at the time.
You voted for Dewey.
Missouri, and I received a letter from him. I guess I still have that.
Wow.
And it'd be on being a young person.
A young person.
Well, yes, I was young at that time. You know, I didn't vote for him then because I was only 18, I believe. And at that time, we couldn't vote until we were 21.
Yeah, it should still be that way.
So I don't remember who I really voted for the first time because I didn't vote until I was 20.
Now let me ask you: with all you're a very high risk group, are you locked up in your condo, or are you going around?
No, I see only my daughter. In fact, I feel very sorry for my daughter. She sacrifices herself. She has lovely grandchildren, and she doesn't even go see them because she doesn't want to be with them and then come to me. So she takes herself to come to me.
Hey.
And
Yeah, I haven't seen my mother like in 2 months. You know, my mother's she's retired and all that. Yeah, you gotta be careful. Well, let me tell you, I disagree with Ben Shapiro. I don't think that it's a bigger tragedy that a 30-year-old dies over you because you're 94.
I think it is. I really do. I think it is. Because I sometimes think to myself, what use am I? I'm not useful.
You're plenty useful. You're plenty useful to your daughter, to your grandkids, your great-grandkids. Believe it. Well, I'll tell you, my mother's grandmother died over 20 years ago, but she was 90-ish. I can't remember exactly how old she was. And she said that she felt like she didn't belong anymore because that everything was so advanced. She didn't, she still drove and everything. And all of her family were, her that she grew up with were gone, but she felt like the world had passed her by, that she didn't fit in anymore, that things were too modern and advanced for her. Do you feel that way?
No, I don't. I play computer games.
Oh.
If I didn't have my computer, I'd go out of my mind.
Wow.
I play games on the computer. I do crossword puzzles. I listen to you, and I listen to a couple of TV shows. I don't watch too much.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, listen, I got to run for a break, but thanks so much for the call. Wow, 94 years old. Okay, let's take our break for the top of the hour. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show. If you're on hold, stand by. More calls after this.
95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
Feeling old? Tired? Broken down? This is Dr. Mitchell Matez of the Boca Raton Center for Age Management, and I can fix it. In 2005, we introduced South Florida to the amazing implantable hormone pellet. These safe and effective pellets will reverse the signs and symptoms of the aging process and leave you feeling fantastic. Energy, sex drive, and weight control are just a phone call away.
That's right.
If you want to feel good again, if you want to look good again, and you want to function well again, call me, Dr. Matez, at the Boca Raton Center for Age Management at 561-953-5490.
Exactly. Me too, Jeff. I'm with you.
561-953-5490, or visit our website at hormonetherapybocaraton.com.
Hurricane season is right around the corner, and the predictions are that the 2020 hurricane season will be busier than normal, with 16 named storms predicted, 8 turning into hurricanes, and 4 growing into major hurricanes. That's according to scientists at Colorado State University. That's 3 more named storms and hurricanes, and 2 more major hurricanes than they predicted at this time last year. Do you have the hurricane coverage you need and the coverage you want for your home, condominium, or commercial property? In case a hurricane hits, call Debbie at I Will Advisors, 954-753-8080. 954
Make sure you guys subscribe.
8080. Debbie will review your policy at no charge and make sure you have the coverage you want and the coverage you need. Once a hurricane hits, it's too late. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors right now. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
Steve Kane Show.
This is Steve Kane for Attorney Barry Siegel. Barry did a great great job for me and my family when we needed a revocable living trust. Listen to one of our listeners, Ray, talk about his experience with Barry Siegel.
I want to praise Barry Siegel. And one of the most important things about sponsors is integrity. You have to know that you're dealing with an honest person. I had to go up to Myrtle Beach with my sister because her husband died, and I was helping her out. She had a trust and everything. She had not revised this trust since 1990. People would just blow you
Should I
away.
broadcast in this?
I
watch.
I'm quite going to say, character, integrity, these are the most important things with sponsors, and all of your sponsors, because I've dealt with a lot of them.
It's not buffering
they
here.
all have that you can trust them, and you know you're getting a fair shake.
Do what Ray did. Call attorney Barry Siegel right now.
Not on my end.
1-855-FLA-3782. That's 1-855 toll-free FLA-3782. Tell them Steve sent you.
It's not buffering on my iPad. That's on your end.
Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-GO-CANE.
Oops, my headphones got taken.
1-888-GO-CANE. 1. And
all right, third and final hour has begun. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Welcome back, one and all. I got a couple things we've been talking about today. Ben Shapiro, the Playdate lady. Well, let me just take some calls and I'll replay some of these sound bites for people that may have missed them. You are on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, that's you. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Brother Moses. I know you.
Oh, Brother Moses. How did you sneak through? Come on.
I know you don't like me or whatever.
No, I don't dislike you. I just don't think you're a good caller. I mean, I like you personally. You're a nice guy. You're just not a good caller.
What I'm trying to say, the gentleman that tried to cut off people at 80 is a communist. I talk to them all the time. People I talk to them all the time. They don't like older people.
Yeah. I'm sitting
wisdom.
now. I'm sitting now.
People can do a lot of things. A lot of them are very educated and have wisdom and a lot of money too.
Yeah.
Just going to get rid of them just like that because they're old.
Well, that's what Ben Shapiro says. It's not as tragic if an 81-year-old dies as opposed to a 30-year-old.
Well, that's all I have to say because I'm not.
Oh, well, on that note, good.
I just call it.
Well, no. If that's all you got to say, I'm ready to move on. Because if I knew that was him, I would not even taken the call. Good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Bob from Pompano.
Hey, Bob.
How you doing, Brian? As far as this thing with old people, it's a very stupid statement, just judging somebody or age. Age is very precious, and it should be more metrics than that, like a triage, as you said. But this kind of mentality I see in our society, they really don't respect the age. I mean, it's unfortunate, and I think this whole thing with this pandemic is bringing it out, and it's really awful.
Well, what the pandemic is doing is we're seeing people's true colors, like Ben Shapiro, and there's that old intellectual discussion. If you could go back in time and kill Hitler as a baby, would you do it? You understand what I mean? What Ben Shapiro sounds like a man without emotion.
Yeah, because everybody's very important to themselves and to their families and grandchildren. But I would say it was my life and my grandson's life, who's only 10 years old. I would say mine in a heartbeat. I'm sure you would.
Well, that's your child. It's your grandchild. Yeah, of course.
Child or your loved one. But it's not for other people to do that. It's just so.
Well, what Ben Shapiro is talking about is one of those death panels like in Obamacare.
Exactly. And this is what's our society. I hope we don't go down that path. As far as this thing opening up everything but the three counties here, I could see them to some degree, but I really don't see what's going on here. I was down in Hallandale last night, and everybody's walking along A1A. I mean, shoulder to shoulder, bumping into each other. They have the beach closed. Same thing here in Pompano. It's ridiculous. I mean, the whole thing doesn't make sense. It's truly arbitrary.
Well, what I really think about it is, what's going on here is this. I think Democrats love power. They don't want to... I mean, do you think Governor Cuomo wants to give up all the power he has over New Yorkers right now?
No.
He's enjoying it.
Yeah, he's riding.
Steve Kane Show.
He's doing well.
Yeah, he is. I would, to a certain extent, he's kind of enjoying it, isn't he? And what about De Blasio with his attack on the Jews, threatening to throw Jews into jail for these funerals? Do you think that is De Blasio? Does he look like he's miserable? That he wants to give up all this power?
They're into the power and for the money and for everything.
Well, that's what's going on here in South Florida. We have Democrats that I think enjoy the power.
I just hope they open it up soon because it's getting stupid. People and this thing with the meat too. There's a shortage of it now. That's all created. I mean, I go to the store. I went to one of the supermarkets. There was a line of people going into the meat.
Well, and this is a lot has to do with the media pushing this for about a week and a half. What they're doing with the meats is what they did with the toilet paper. The toilet paper shortage happened because the media it first started when there was a viral video of a woman somewhere in America at a Target, a Walmart or something, buying a bunch of toilet paper. It went viral, got media coverage, and then I the last few times I've gone to Publix, and it's been different Publix stores, there's been toilet paper on the shelves, but not very much, but it's always been there. And I'm wondering if they do have a lot of toilet paper in the back room, they're just not overloading the shelves with it so it doesn't just evaporate real quick. If they're only putting like five or 10 packs out.
They trickle it out.
Yeah.
The media loves this stuff. I mean, the ratings must be sky high, but...
Well, yeah, our ratings are sky high. Because people want news and information, all of us in media that talk about such things have higher ratings than we may normally have. But listen, people will still come to the show. I don't want to spread fear so that people, the television doesn't want you to leave the television. And they have higher ratings in all of their day parts than they ever have because so many people are locked down and they don't want that to end. The media. But there's no doubt in my mind, I think the reason that the South Florida counties are not moving into phase one like the rest of the state is it's Democrats mad with power. And they know what's best.
They know it's good for you and not you.
That's right. All right, appreciate the call. All right, good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Mike from Boca again.
Okay, Mike, one call per show, but we'll give you a break since you snuck through there. What's up?
I want to know about Benny real quick.
About what?
Ben Shapiro.
Oh, Ben Shapiro.
I've been listening to talk radio since I was a kid because my dad listened to AM radio. He's got to be the worst guy I've ever heard on the radio. I can't stand his voice. And when he first started, I listened to him years ago, but then he started always talking about his security force.
Yeah.
So old, I turned it off.
Yeah, his security force, yeah.
For him to say about that, comparing, that was bad. That's not good because a lot of people on watch conservative radio and watch Fox News, they happen to be older people.
Listen, Ben Shapiro and his security team, all of these, I would imagine most of these syndicated guys have something at some point, but I don't hear them talk about it like that. I've heard, he's just a strange guy, Ben Shapiro. He's a strange guy, and he has no soul.
You don't see him much on Fox anymore either. They tried to give him a Sunday show over the summertime. It didn't work.
But I'll tell you, I don't like him. You don't like him. I don't know. I know one person that likes him. He's not likable. He's not likable, but he's pretty much a household name, and he's successful. So do we really not like him? Maybe we only think we don't like Ben Shapiro.
His voice is terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. All right, Mike and Boca, appreciate it. Let me play the Shapiro clip one more time for people that may not have heard it, then I'll take some more calls. This is Ben Shapiro.
Nobody just wants to say the obvious truth, which is that we're all making actuarial deductions about what are the costs in terms of how many human lives, how many years of life, because that is an actual issue in actuarial tables, right? If somebody who is 81 dies of COVID-19. That is not the same thing as somebody who is 30 dying of COVID-19. I mean,
Well, okay, that's what we're talking about. Good morning, Jeff in Maine. You're on the radio.
Hey, Brian.
Oh, Tom, I got the lines mixed up. It's Tom. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
This is Jeff from Maine.
Oh, it's Jeff. Oh, okay. Okay, I was right then. Jeff in Maine. All right, go ahead, Jeff in Maine.
What happened to our country? We used to revere our elders, the greatest generation that ever lived, the World War II veterans that died in thousands a day. There's not many left. We revered them and learned from their wisdom. They deserve life and the best care to take care of them up until their moment.
Well, I think Ben Shapiro is a typical millennial that is very self-obsessed and thinks that their generation is the most important generation on the earth today and maybe ever, for whatever reason. I don't know.
He's going off his rocker.
Steve Kane Show.
It's crazy talk.
Hey, Barry. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Well, Jeff in Maine, thanks for the call. I appreciate always something interesting. Oh, let's check in with Attorney Barry Siegel. Our first time talking to Attorney Barry Siegel in our new studio here in Boca. Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
Hey there. Good, good. I was thinking, one of the things you do with the healthcare designee who decides your healthcare when you're in a situation, and I imagine most people choose their spouse first and then some. But I was thinking in this current situation, you probably want to have a third or even a fourth designee that lives outside of your household.
I'd say the most typical is if you're married that people will name their spouse and then a backup. I sometimes you'll see people naming one or two people after. I wouldn't necessarily say you have much more after that.
Yeah.
The key thing to when you're looking at making a decision who that person would be, remember the healthcare surrogate is also going to be the person that would have to pull a plug if necessary, if that was your wish. And you want to make sure that the person you choose is somebody who can actually do it, if that's what you want. So sometimes I've seen people not name their spouse simply because their spouse wouldn't be able to do that.
Oh, yeah.
So that's one of the considerations you have to think of.
Wow, that's something, And I got to tell you, sometimes, I never thought of it that way. I don't know if I could, I got to talk to my wife about that. I've never considered it in that way before. But see, that's one of the reasons, you would really want to go talk to Barry Siegel and have him look over all of your arrangements, because he's dealt with every imaginable situation and considers things that you would never dream of, because he's dealt with every possible situation. That's an interesting thing you just said, Barry.
Well, that's one of the key reasons why people should see an attorney when it comes to this. Some people think of it, they're just documents, I can get them anywhere, whether online or what. But what you're not getting is the guidance and someone asking the questions that can deal with little details. And there's a saying about small hinges can move big doors, and just a little tiny detail can make a huge difference in how your plan is going to be executed and what's going to happen. I mean, one of the things we've talked about many times on your show is about the bloodline. I have a client right now who realized they didn't have the bloodline in their trust. They want to get that changed to make sure that their children are protected.
Mm-hmm.
People think that if they leave their assets to their children, and even if they don't name their son-in-law or daughter-in-law, they think it can't go to them, but that's entirely not true. So if we don't set it up properly with the right language, they very well could end up, the in-law could very well end up getting the assets in a divorce, at least half of it, or get it if your child passes away, instead of it going to your grandchildren. So these details are what makes.
There's so many situations, Barry. And my mother married a younger man, and older than me, but a younger man. And my mother had everything set up, but they really didn't make all of the arrangements for my stepfather because they just assumed my mother would pass first because she was older, and the opposite happened. And when there was it was difficult for my mother because she didn't make arrangements because she was married to a younger. And you talk about bloodline planning. It was a tragic story. My mother's neighbor, couple married forever and ever. Husband died. 6 months later, the wife remarried. 3 months later, she died. No bloodline planning. The family didn't get anything, not even the family photographs. This predator that she met at, what is it you say all the time, Barry, at the Shiva call or something, got everything. And it's a tragedy. And you really got to talk. And I was talking to Steve yesterday about you, Barry Siegel, when we get settled on our new place. We want to have you in one day in our new studio here in Boca. 20% of the deaths from coronavirus we're hearing are from nursing homes. And oftentimes a nursing home is the only option, but with Medicaid planning, you do a lot of work so that people can have at-home care covered that think they may not have the ability to cover at-home care. And a big thing that's coming out of our senior community, I think, in South Florida is if you can have at-home care, that's going to be preferable to nursing homes when you see these tragedies in the news. And that's one thing that you do with your Medicaid planning.
Yeah, Medicaid planning can help people with the cost of care at any of the three levels: home care, assisted living, and nursing homes. And even before this, of course, people wanted at all costs to stay at home.
Yes.
It's not going to change, but certainly I understand with all of the infections and that have occurred in these facilities, that's going to be even more of an issue.
Yeah, and you would be surprised. Barry and his team, they're experts in this. You may think there's no way I could qualify for Medicaid benefits for at-home care. Don't be so sure. Talk to Barry. Just talk to him. His number, toll-free, 1-855-FLA-3782, 1-855-FLA-3782. Attorney Barry Siegel with the Siegel Law Group. All right, Barry, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, Brian.
All right. All right, you too. Take care. Take care. That's Attorney Barry Siegel. He's a good guy. So I played this clip early in the show. I want to share with you again, for those that may have missed it, because this one, in my opinion, this is one of the stories that it's one of the two or three stories that should be the lead story in every cable news mainstream media broadcast that's out there. And it's, oh, by the way, has anybody heard on, I didn't see anything on television yesterday in the television news about the fish tank cleaning solution woman being investigated for murdering her husband. Did you guys see that, anyone? This audio, very disturbing. There's a video that goes with this audio that is online at thegatewaypundit.com. This is one of the most disturbing things I have seen during this entire coronavirus event. A woman in Wisconsin went to a friend's house with her child so that her child could play with her friend's child. She gets home and two sheriff's deputies showed up at her front door, and she had her phone out and she recorded it. So the recording you hear is the mother. She just returned home from a play date with her child from a friend's house. Two deputies show up. Here's the exchange. Listen to this.
Hi, Amy.
Hi.
I'm Deputy Everhart with the Sheriff's Department. So, are you aware that we're in a stay-at-home order right now?
Yeah, obviously.
By the government?
Yes.
See, the government has decided that in the state of Wisconsin, you're under house arrest. You've done no crime. You've done nothing. But you're like Michael Avenatti, who's out of prison. You're under house arrest.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Okay, you're aware of that?
I am aware.
I don't need to explain it to you?
No, you don't need to explain that to
I
me.
can if you need me to.
Go, you can because your officer was just here 2 weeks ago,
Okay, do you need me
and
to
he
explain
explained it to me that you guys weren't enforcing that order.
Oh, we're about to.
Okay.
You understand it though?
Okay, so why are you here?
Because your daughter is going to play at other people's home and you're allowing it to happen.
Wow. Your daughter is playing at other people's homes. You are allowing it to happen. We are the police, and we are here to deal with the fact that you're letting your child play with another child in another home. I mean, it hasn't even sunk into my head that this is real, that this has happened. But it has. Yeah, and the arrogance, listen to the tone of the deputies.
Your daughter is going to play at other people's home and you're allowing it to happen.
They were over here as well, so are you here?
They've been talking to
Okay.
you. So
No, I understand. Okay.
And so either you can acknowledge it or you can argue.
I'm acknowledging it.
Okay, now admit your guilt. There's that you can acknowledge it, which is admit your guilt, and you know, I'm as pro-police as it gets. You never admit your guilt to the police. Police are good guys. I love the police, not these two. I don't love these two. These are bad cops. There's good cops and there's bad cops. I've seen the movies. These are bad cops. And by the way, they've already visited the home where the play date occurred.
Okay, stop having your kid go by other people's home.
Okay, I acknowledge it. Anything?
Wow, you would think her kid was a delinquent or something. And you hear the tone? Stop having your kid go to other people's homes. He's barking an order. That's an order. He's a sworn police officer. He's got his partner, this lady cop, policewoman, Angie Dickinson or something. You're going to hear from her too. Democrat-controlled Wisconsin.
I'm acknowledging it.
Okay, stop having your kid go by other people's home.
Okay, I acknowledge it. Anything else?
Nope, that was it. Apparently, there was some other...
I acknowledged it. I acknowledged it.
Good.
Anything else?
Yeah, I need your last name. Amy, what's your last name?
I'm not. Is there a reason you're asking for
I
it?
added you to the screen so we can document that we had contact with you.
Wow. Okay, so the lady cop, policewoman here, she wants her full name so she can document who she's been in contact with and who they've been in contact with. This is like when I watch SWAT. They have a list of the gang members, and they're in the gang book of registries of people. This is the new America. This is the new America. Now, some may say, I saw someone in the YouTube live chat, they said the police are just doing their job here. Another way to say it is they're just following orders. Right? Mm-hmm.
What's your last name?
I'm not. Is there a reason you're asking for
I
it?
added you to the screen so we can document that we had contact with you.
Is there a reason for it?
Yep, because you're
That's what
violating
I'm talking about.
which is a...
If you let me finish, that's what I'm explaining to you. Because you're violating an order.
I haven't violated an order.
We're going to have documentation in our screen with your name because we're here talking to you about that.
Okay, now they're putting her name on a list. They're putting her name on a list. Where the list will be, we don't know.
That you said you just acknowledged.
Okay.
So that there's
I would like to see the law that requires me to give you that information.
Thank you.
Because I haven't. I don't believe that I'm required to give that to you. Are we done here?
No, we're not.
Okay.
Your middle initial and your last name.
I'm not giving it to you. I haven't done anything wrong.
Okay. Perfect. We got it.
Cooperative with the brown shirts there. That's going to be noted. You're going to be in a list. Your name's going to go in a book. They are just one step away from taking her child from her. They're just a step away from saying that she's endangering her. Well, actually, what they are saying that she's endangering her child. She's endangering her child and other children by allowing her child to play with another child at another home. That's a step away from removing the child from the custody of the parent. They're almost there. And you hear the tone. These are not officers that are reluctant. There was a story I played the audio from on the show last week of a store owner in Arizona where the police went and they arrested the guy because he opened up his store. Remember that? You could tell one of the officers, he was embarrassed. He didn't feel right. He didn't want to be there. He still arrested the guy. But you could tell these deputies, they feel fully justified in what they're doing there. They have no remorse, no regret, no embarrassment. This is the new normal. All right, listen, we'll take our break for the bottom of the hour. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget.
I know, it's crazy
Buy your
town.
tires at Friendly Tire in Margate.
Give me a call, guys. Let me know what you think. Well, thank you, Plumber Mike.
And Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't
Hey,
be
AJ.
beat. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops.
It's AJ. He's the
$175 a tire. At
It's
Friendly
insane.
Tire, just
It's insane.
$75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter.
He's the
Nicholas
operations
are only
manager of
$35
the radio
at shops
stations.
around town. The price at Friendly Tire only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone at 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
Pretty bad.
Frank, the owner of Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware, wants you and your family to be protected during the coronavirus pandemic and has an incredible offer for listeners of The Steve Kane Show.
We get products continually coming in during after the week. We get disinfectants, bleach, gloves, cleaning supplies, looking for face masks. So the best thing that we came up with was a face covering. A lot of the cities are going to ask you to cover your face.
Hey, hold
we've
on.
got to supply a bandana.
Steve Kane Show.
Love every one of your customers that
Yeah.
come in a free bandana just for mentioning the Steve Kane Show.
Oh, hey, Nick. Hold on. Hold on, Nick.
Covering in the cities are really required.
It's Nick from the YouTube chat.
Get out that everybody's required to have their face covered, so you can use this bandana to cover your mouth and your nose and to protect you and protect all those around you. The other thing is, while you're at home, why don't you get that honeydew list done? It's that cleaning project or sprinkler supply, or maybe treat yourself to a new growth.
Oh, I was looking for my
These
flash
bandanas
drive.
are reusable because you can wash them. So stop into Ace Hardware in Deerfield, just south of Hillsborough Boulevard on the west side of US 1, and Beach Ace Hardware, located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, Lauderdale by the Sea, and get your free bandana from Ace Hardware.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. And on the line, we have one of our fellow hosts, Richard Pearl. His show is on our radio stations every Saturday at high noon. Richard Pearl from Simply Natural. Good morning. Oh, there you go, Richard. Got you now, Richard.
Okay, good.
So what's going on in the world of health and nutraceuticals today, Richard Pearl?
The excitement by Dr. Fauci and remdesivir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's right. And, you know, Simply Natural, you have a great store there, Richard Pearl. You've been there for, what, 20 years? Oh, my goodness. Almost going on, yeah, it's going on quarter of a century. Same location in Sunrise. Stop by Simply Natural. They're open 7 days a week, 11 a.m. till 9. Located in Sunrise, just north of Sunset Strip on the east side of University. You can give them a call at 954-741-4045, 954-741-4045, and make sure to catch Richard Pearl's radio show, Pearls of Health, Saturday and Sundays at noon on our radio station. All right, Richard Pearl, yeah. Oh. That'll be a hot show. That's a hot show. I'll be listening. I'm looking forward to it. All right, take care, Richard Pearl. All right, catch your show Saturday at noon on our radio stations. Good morning. You are on the radio.
Hey, Brian. Nathan from Wisconsin.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Wisconsin, where you have the brown shirts going door to door, harassing mothers who have play dates.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, luckily I'm an essential business owner here in Wisconsin. I've talked to you a little bit in your chat. I'm an auto dealer, but I'm surrounded by small restaurants. Now, I'm in a little tiny community, 1,100 people. There's absolutely no cases like in my immediate area. Everything is more Madison, Milwaukee. All these other small farming communities, we're all in the same shutdown as these huge cities.
That's insane. Makes no sense. You know, this audio that I played of the police going to the mothers, the Playdate police, have you seen that story in the news in Wisconsin or not?
I have seen it. I'm having a hard time finding exactly where it happened.
Yeah, I don't know where in Wisconsin either. Well, okay, so what have you seen in Wisconsin? Is it being reported in the mainstream news, or did you find it online or through me? Are you seeing it in Wisconsin media?
Through you.
You gotta go to Florida to get the news of what's going on in Wisconsin. That should be a front page story in Wisconsin. I find that disturbing.
I do too. And here's the thing, you know, I mean, everything was going just fine in Wisconsin. You know, Scott Walker was the governor. We were doing good. And, you know, the only reason we're surviving as well as we are, I feel, is because of all the good things that Scott Walker had put in place. And I think, you know, the clock is going to run out on that for us sooner.
Well, you know, Scott Walker, who I saw, he came out of hibernation a couple days ago. I saw him quoted in the news. But before Trump came down the escalator, I thought Scott Walker was going to be the guy that I was supporting for president in 2016, before Trump was running. And the reason I like Scott Walker is he defeated Obama's campaign during that recall. And I'm like, this guy's awesome. But he was one of the first Republicans to drop out of the race when Trump started running. And it seemed very strange to me. Do you know why he dropped out? And it was very quick. And then we haven't really heard from him too much since. What was up with that? There must be some scandal.
I think he was intimidated by Trump, to be honest. And I think that he knew, and I mean, I was looking at Trump, I was looking at Ted Cruz, I was looking at Scott Walker, you know, those were kind of my three guys.
Well, Ted Cruz's father, have you seen the photograph of Ted Cruz's father with Lee Harvey Oswald in New Orleans before the Kennedy assassination?
I'm not sure if I saw that.
Yeah, a lot of people think I'm crazy about this. It's not just me. There's a photograph. You know, his father's from Cuba, and there's a photograph of his father on a street corner in New Orleans with Lee Harvey Oswald handing out leaflets. And Ted Cruz, you know how Ted Cruz became a national figure? You know who brought him up, right?
Yeah, right.
No. I not raised him as, no, I mean brought him into politics, the Bush family. And, yeah, and, you know, Bush 41 was in the FBI and was in Dallas the day of the assassination of President Kennedy, by the way. A lot of people don't know that. But I think, based on that, and you can look this up online, Google it, and you'll find this, Ted Cruz's father with Lee Harvey Oswald. There's been a lot reported on it. he was fresh off the boat from Cuba, and I think that Ted Cruz's father was doing undercover work for either the FBI or the CIA, and to Lee Harvey Oswald, a recent returnee who defected to the Soviet Union, right? And there's something going on there, and I don't distrust Ted Cruz as a senator, but I would not support him for president or vice president. There's something about that they're not talking about all these years later, and it'd be a fascinating story.
Too grassrootsy for me.
I don't like the beard that he grew either.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would have gone, I did go with Trump in the end anyways, and, had it been that those guys were, I think I still would have gone with Trump. I just really do. I think just because of his experience and everything that he had. People complain about Trump, but I did not vote for your traditional politician. I voted for the gritty New York business guy. That's what I wanted in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've got, so that's right.
Can't hear about any good stories up here.
Well, if you visit South Florida, get in touch. You can stop by our studio when the social distancing stuff is over, of course.
Absolutely, I will. And I'm so glad that I found your station. I'm so glad that I found you guys. And I listen to you guys every morning before I go to work.
Oh, that's awesome.
I just want to say thanks for getting.
So you're in the auto business. What is it like in this period we're in, having a car dealership?
Well, I'm an independent dealer. I mean, I don't have a large lot. I stock anywhere between 10 and 15 cars.
Oh, you're like a light bulb lot. We call them light bulb lots, where they have the lights outside to get attention.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, my place is pretty nice. I mean, I don't deal with a lot of cars. I just put,
Do you have a buy here, pay here place? Is that what your place is? Buy here, pay here?
I don't do any predatory loans. I don't do anything like that.
Oh, good.
Financing. Yep, I totally believe in that, and I'm a totally different dealer that way. So I have a very tight customer base. I've been very fortunate. We do auto detailing too, so we've.
So you're still selling cars. You're still selling cars in Wisconsin during the pandemic.
Having deals right now.
That's awesome. You need cars. All right, take care, man. Thanks for the call. All right, good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Jim from New York. How you doing?
All right, Jim.
So, you were talking about Ben Shapiro. So I went on, and I haven't done this. This is the first time I did it. I went on the CDC website to look at deaths, as far as coronavirus. And it's amazing when you look at they go from an age range. I mean, and this is something obviously the mainstream, dirtbag liberal media won't report.
Dirtbag.
If you look at anybody under the age of like that 45 to 54 group, I mean, the entire country, it's either single digits or double digits, or maybe a few hundred.
Yeah.
Every age segment. And then once you hit the 45 to 54, it goes up to 1,000, like 1,600. It's once you hit that 60-plus group that it skyrockets.
Yes.
So my concern is, and I agree, I'm a pro-lifer, I'm like you, I'm against the death penalty, all that. But that being said, we're shutting down an entire economy, basically for people who are retirement age.
Well, I don't know about that. I wouldn't say that. The age, the reason the age is that way, and I'm guessing, is a lot to do with these nursing home facilities, and the unsanitary conditions in them. So I wouldn't say it's an age thing. It seems to be maybe like a sanitary issue among that population. In my opinion, based on the numbers we're seeing, it may, I wouldn't say it's an age thing. So far as shutting down the economy, when this is all over and there's reflection, we're going to find out why the economy was really shut down. Is it to me, when our entire state here in Florida is moving into phase 1 Monday, except the 3 Democrat strongholds of Broward, Dade, and Miami, Miami, Broward, and Palm Beach County, that to me tells me it's things are shut down for partisan reasons more than anything else in huge parts of the country.
And I agree with you that, the libs, they love, they want to be puppet string to socialism. They want to be the puppeteers, and all their little minions are the puppets on the strings, and that's the way socialism works, and they have everybody under their thumb. But when I look at the statistics that show that if you add everybody from infant to age 44, the entire death toll combined for that entire group, 0 to 44, is...
Yeah. Well, most people, even in the state of New York, have some sort of pre-existing condition that have passed. Yeah, and there are many types of pre-existing conditions. One of them can be age, and most people that are in that upper age group have something. But I don't want to devalue someone because they have a pre-existing condition or they're old. I don't think that's why things are shut down at all. I think things are shut down because Trump is president, and some areas, like here in South Florida.
Well, you get, and on a footnote, you're talking about Ben Shapiro. I put him in the same category as I always put Glenn Beck. He's a phony. I don't trust him. I think that their on-air persona is a fraud. They're not good at their acting skills, and I think they both suck, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I never, Glenn Beck, before he became a big national star, used to fill in for a local guy here in Florida, Todd Schnitt, who's a little more well-known now, used to be a local Florida guy. And I heard Glenn Beck fill in for Todd Schnitt a couple times before he was famous. And I never liked Glenn Beck. I've never liked Glenn Beck. I believe he's an actor. I believe that he reads his monologues and everything else. The only thing I have written down are like the phone number for Friendly Tire or William. You know what I mean? Anything that you hear me or Steve say is off the top of our head. I feel like his show is scripted. It's like listening to an audiobook. Glenn Beck.
I mean, I listen to you every morning. I've been listening to you guys since the FDL days.
Oh, my.
Things are so crappy with even TV nowadays and streaming and all. There's really a bunch of garbage out there. I resorted to at night when I'm going to sleep, I'm putting on reruns of Neil Rogers off of YouTube.
Oh, wow.
A lot of this stuff is...
Well, if you want to hear something, if you want to hear me drunk on the air, okay, find Neil Rogers. I'm not sure if it was the 20th or it was either the 20th or 25th anniversary of the 20th anniversary. I was at home at 11 o'clock in the morning, drunk, and they called me to go on the air with Neil Rogers, and I was completely intoxicated at 11 o'clock in the morning, mind you. And I'd been on the air I was a lot younger then, and I don't know. And I remember I was drinking wine. Can you believe? And it's on YouTube, and I'm drunk all out of my mind on that. Totally hammered.
I heard that.
Yeah. That's okay. Hey, it's all in good fun. Listen, I got to run, but thanks for the call. That's on YouTube. It's the 20th anniversary. I thought it was the 25th. But anyway, you guys, it's one or the other. You can find it. All right, listen, we'll take our last break of the day, and then we'll be back. Don't you go anywhere. Stay tuned.
Hurricane season is right around the corner, and the predictions are that the 2020 hurricane season will be busier than normal, with 16 named storms predicted, 8 turning into hurricanes, and 4 growing into major hurricanes. That's according to scientists at Colorado State University. That's 3 more named storms and hurricanes, and 2 more major hurricanes than they predicted at this time last year. Do you have the hurricane coverage you need and the coverage you want for your home, condominium, or commercial property? In case a hurricane hits, call Debbie at I Will Advisors, 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. Debbie will review your policy at no charge and make sure you have the coverage
Drinking wine.
you need. Once a hurricane hits, it's too late. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors right now. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
Listen to the Steve King Show on iHeartRadio.
That was funny.
Search for WW.
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. And on the line, we have William Youngerman with this morning's Gold Report. William Youngerman in business since 1967. William Youngerman, good morning.
Brian, how you doing?
Great. How the metals looking today?
Metals giving us a great buying opportunity this morning in an unexpected drop that we just saw take place in the last 15 minutes. which gold was at one point up a couple dollars this morning, and now it's down $18.10. That's a buying opportunity that we've been kind of waiting for. Yesterday we saw gold up $2.60, closing at $1,714.10. Silver was up 11 cents yesterday, closing at $15.26 the ounce, while platinum was up $8 at $7.78, and palladium was up $23 at $1,870. This morning we got the hit of buying opportunity. Gold got down to $1,690, and it's starting to turn around now. It's back up to $1,696. That's down $18.10. Silver's down to $14.80. That's down.
Make sure you guys subscribe.
Platinum down $16 at $7.62, and palladium, the only one up.
She's still around.
At $1,900. But great buying opportunity for pick up some gold under the $1,700 spot price today. Quickly by the trade.
You know, our new studio right down the street from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca, which is just immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road in the Bank of America building. And as we get out of this pandemic, it's going to be very interesting, William Youngerman. We got to have you on the show to talk about how the metals did during a global pandemic overall, and it's been an amazing story because what's going on in the economy is so unusual with the oil prices, the metal prices, the market. It's not a normal situation with any of these things, and the metals are always there. They're always there for you. They're always money. They always will be money, gold in particular, and it's absolutely amazing. Listen, guys, give William Youngerman a call. No matter where you are located, his number is toll-free, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, and online, WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we will talk tomorrow. All right, take care. Yeah. And don't forget, guys, look for that Neil Rogers show. He said it was the 20th anniversary show. I thought it was the 25th, but it could be the 20th. Hear me drunk out of my mind. I wasn't planning on going on the air. They called me. I was at home with friends, and I was laying on my couch drinking wine, and they called me to go on the air, and I was, so you'll have a good time with that. Then call me tomorrow and tell me what you guys think about that. Steve will be back with us on the show tomorrow as well. But I started the show talking about this, so I just want to kind of just mention it one last time. The entire state of Florida has opened up except for Broward, Dade, and Palm Beach County. No one can convince me that's anything but anti-Trump politics. These are the Democrat strongholds. They're all Democrats. Their minds are clouded. Even the governor said yesterday several times in his press conference that they are going against the advice of all the medical professionals. He said that repeatedly throughout his speech yesterday. He says, I think they could be in phase one. He was nice to them because he thinks that there's going to be pressure put on them. He wants them to open up. He doesn't want to get confrontational with them, I don't think, DeSantis, so that they dig in and say, we're not opening up because DeSantis. He wants them to think it's their decision to open up. But I got to tell you, people, if you're here in South Florida like I am, I think I'm going to contact my local officials today. I'm going to call them up and say, hey, open us up. This is ridiculous. The rest of the state is open up. And I'm not going to tell anybody to call this person or call that person, but I'm telling you what I'm doing, and it's important for them to hear that you want the community open for business into phase one like the rest of the state. I mean, if the Orlando area can be opened up, Broward County, Palm Beach County, and even Dade County can be opened up. And phase one is very mild. They're not bringing the tourists back. They still have even in phase one, they're not opening up the barbershops, hair salons, nail salons, the movie theaters. It's not that big of a move, but it's a move. And they just won't open things up, and it's wrong. This Trump derangement syndrome. I was watching poor Carl Bernstein. I tell you, this guy, Carl Bernstein, is one of the saddest people on TV, and that's saying a lot because there's a lot of sad people on television. Let me play this clip. This is Carl Bernstein on CNN the other night talking about President Trump.
question for the press and all Americans and the senators and the congressmen that needs to be raised is, are we at the mercy of a delusional, unstable president at the moment that we have lost more lives than in any event since World War II?
Okay. You know, Carl Bernstein, I met Carl Bernstein once many years ago. He was much younger, and he was, you know, cool guy. I like Carl Bernstein. I read All the President's Men last year. I never read the book. I'd seen the movie a bunch of times, but never read the book, and it's a very good book. And Bob Woodward gets all the glory, but if you read All the President's Men, if you actually read the book, Carl Bernstein did all the investigative reporting, basically. All the journalism was Bernstein. And when you think on Carl Bernstein's life, since Watergate, what else has he done? He peaked early. You know, it's like in Hollywood, an actor will win an Academy Award in their first movie and then they're done. Like, you know, Richard Dreyfuss wins an Academy Award, boom, he's done. He does one more movie. He peaked when he was young, and he hasn't done much of anything since 1974. And everything to him is Vietnam. Every Republican is always Nixon. And you know what? He is as much out of touch with reality as Joe Biden, Carl Bernstein. I got to move our clock because the clock is behind me instead of like where I should be able to see it. So I have to keep looking behind me to see what time it is. But Carl Bernstein, you know, he's a sad, sad man. President Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize for the way that he handled himself during this entire pandemic that we're coming out of now. I know a lot of people don't like the way he is in the press conferences, and they don't like his tone. I like it all. You'll never hear me say anything negative about Donald Trump. It's just not going to happen. I approve of everything he does. I approve of everything he has done. I will approve of everything he does in the future. That's just me. I'm a cheerleader for Donald Trump. It's going to be that way. But I'll tell you this, he got us through this pandemic, and when Governor DeSantis was on television yesterday, it was absolutely amazing because he spent a long time going through all the numbers and the curves and everything in Florida versus what the models were. And all the predictions were wrong. Every model was wrong. And that press conference is on YouTube. Go back and watch it and tell yourselves that Broward, Dade, and Palm Beach should not be in phase one like the rest of the state of Florida. It's outrageous. With that being said, we'll see you tomorrow at 6 a.m. All right, I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Take care, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow at 6.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly.
All right, guys. Hey, listen. Make sure you subscribe, all right? Take care. See you guys later.